For the audience
Good
watching,
morning,
I think this is
everybody.
truly for three different people. Number one is anybody out there that loves Charlie, respects Charlie, his legacy, what he did. We have a lot of love and admiration for what he did. He changed the lives of many people, young men, young women. You worked with him for many years. You guys were friends. You've said a lot of good things about Charlie, respectful towards him. You guys may have disagreed on some things, but you had a lot of respect for him. The second audience is the folks out there, you that's watching this. And so for you, you've been wanting something like this to take place. And kudos for Andrew for coming out and saying, hey, I want to have this conversation, and for Candace to accept it. So you have the ability to say, I agree, I disagree, comment, do all the stuff that you're doing online. And if you want to see more of these things, any of the three channels, subscribe to them: the Candace Show, the Crucible. I'm sure some of the people from Crucible are watching as well, and the PBD Podcast. The more you subscribe to this, the more we're able to deliver these types of conversations to you. And last but not least, it's about the two of you. My goal is to speak as little as possible. 99% of the time, it'll be you guys speaking, and the audience will be able to see it. If I jump in, just so everybody knows, on the back end, both have agreed. In the back, there's three people representing Andrew and three people representing Candace to do fact checking. So at any point, if somebody makes a claim, the other can say, can we fact check this? I can jump in and say, fact check this. Even the folks in the back can say, fact check this. So it is a very fair conversation that we're having here. And so with that being said, kudos to Michael Knowles. Your name was mentioned a lot. You missed out right now. The last 10 minutes, we talked about you. There's a lot of love and respect here mutually from both parties, all three of them here. And then, of course, the great Joe Rogan that started this conversation. And he also volunteered, but it ended up being this format that we have here today. So with that being said, Andrew, your claim is overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Opening statements, opening comments.
Sure. And what I mean by overwhelming is I just find it very convincing. I think that's what most people mean when they say overwhelming evidence. So I have a brief opening statement. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was murdered. Many of you already know a lot about the events which occurred after Kirk's death. You remember the ghoulish laughter, celebrations, and madness we saw from leftists all over, from TikTok invasions, debates, posts on social media, destruction of memorials, and things like this. Within weeks of Kirk's death, a cottage industry began to form, peddling various alternative theories on how he died. What special interest may have killed him, what nations were involved, and was our own government one of them? Because this was the first nationwide traumatic event in Gen Z's lifetime, the demand for answers was severe and palpable. The leading theory from the conspiracy verse is that Israel worked with the United States government to murder Charlie Kirk. Within a day or two of Kirk's death, Ian Carroll claimed that Israel killed Charlie Kirk, and the conspiracy caught on like wildfire. This theory was built on one misleading piece of evidence, that in his final days, on or around September 8th, Charlie sent a text message reading, "Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause." This was sent in the context of a platforming dispute regarding Tucker Carlson. From this scintilla of misleading information, it was speculated that Israel killed Charlie Kirk because he would have successfully opposed the Iranian war. Now, that's a fun theory, and who doesn't like a good, fun conspiracy theory? I like them. But there is no evidence that Israel actually killed Charlie Kirk. And if Candace has some, I'd like her to actually show it to me. I'm open to suggestions, but to date, there hasn't been any. There is, however, tons of evidence that a leftist killed Charlie Kirk, just as Charlie feared they would. I believe Charlie Kirk, and I have the receipts. No, I didn't have a dream where he came to me and told me that the left killed him. No, he didn't come to me a dream and say, Candace Owens betrayed him. That never happened. In fact, I don't need dreams of any kind because I hold in my possession never before seen messages from Charlie Kirk to his security team on September 9th, 2025. I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information's ever been publicly revealed. On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this, okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th. Whatever could he have meant by that?
That's
well,
wild.
I think he meant exactly what he said, that he was worried the left was going to try to kill him. Now, we'll discuss this more later on in the debate, and maybe I have more never before seen evidence that exposes just how wrong and, in my opinion, idiotic many of these conspiracy theories have been. But that's what happens when you rely on what's called the evidence of the gaps. In other words, they don't have evidence, they seem to just make up evidence. And what did they make up? Well, in my opinion, kind of whatever lined the pockets. And I think it's ghoulish to profit off of the death of a good man. But we came here today to debate, and so let's get to it. The debate topic today is 1, my belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, and 2, Candace's belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson was a patsy and didn't kill Charlie Kirk. In sum, the audience is going to decide who has more evidence supporting their theory. My theory is that the state is correct that Tyler Robinson is the killer, at least based on evidence so far, and Candace's theory that Tyler Robinson is not the killer and he's a patsy set up by the feds. To be clear, this is not a question of reasonable doubt. If it was reasonable doubt, and that's all it was, and that's all Candace was proffering, I wouldn't even be here having the debate with her. It's fair to have doubts, as a trial has yet to occur, and the state hasn't even begun to try to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. But Candace makes a more forceful claim. She claims that there's more evidence that Tyler is not guilty of murder and was set up as a patsy than there is for the state's case. And I just think that that's absurd. And she will not be able to demonstrate that in any way. In fact, she has almost no real evidence at all of her theory, whereas my theory is supported by compelling witness testimony, physical evidence, multiple confessions, all of which are independently compelling, but which are even more convincing as each piece of evidence corroborates the others. You'll notice the term overwhelming was included in both theories. This is because Candace demanded I defend my use of that term, which I think is fair, in describing the evidence against Tyler Robinson. She, on the other hand, only wanted to defend her theory as merely viable. That is, until I showed her clips in which she said she believed the evidence of her theory, that Tyler Robinson's a patsy, was supported by overwhelming evidence. Only then did she agree to defend that position. Regardless, we're both defending the claim that there's overwhelming evidence on our side, so it's worth defining that term. When I say the evidence against Robinson's overwhelming, all I'm saying is that I mean that as of right now, I find it very convincing. I see almost no evidence at all, only speculation on verified claims and suggestions of things that could merely be hypothetically possible. Dreams, vibes, feelings, things like this. Almost done, by the way. I have no problem defending the state's case and welcome Candace bringing up any challenges she would like. But if I'm honest, the reason I was willing to pay the $300,000 for this debate was to finally have a chance for someone to demand Candace be held accountable for the unbelievable theories and claims she's been making. Candace's investigation is indistinguishable from a leftist operation. She couldn't be doing more damage to the right if she were trying. She uses her considerable platform to relentlessly attack one of the most influential conservative outreach organizations for young people, and she's making a mockery of the online right-wing commentary class. She's harming Republicans in an election year by dividing them. She's attacking the very organization Charlie spent his life building, and she's attacking the people he loved, including his wife. And it cost me $300,000, but today I hope that she finally answers for some of that.
Thank you, Andrew. Candace?
Did you get it out of your system?
I did.
Okay, great. Well, I'm not going to waste time with the preamble because I think I just want to get to the substance of the debate, and we'll just speak to the audience. I have obviously had an audience since we've been covering this case. People know that there was a personal friendship between me and Charlie, and diminishing the pursuit of something that makes sense regarding what happened on September 10th. By throwing it to, this is just people who are conspiracy theorists. These are people who are just trying to generate clicks. I don't think that people should be satisfied by that. I want people to remember that it's important to think. We've been lied to by the government a great many times just.
That's not on our end.
element, I think, for everyone
I fixed it.
is that not only does the narrative not make any sense, which I'm going to demonstrate, I don't need to waste time with the preamble.
That suit jacket is not doing her any
you or pretending
favors
that
from
I've
this
been running
angle,
the
by the way.
podcast saying it's just dreams and
Makes
vibes,
her
like
look
I'm Miss
very
Cleo.
heavy.
And that's the reason why it's taking so many influencers. It looks like $1 billion industry of influencers to dispute everything Candace says. Is not because I'm on my platform saying I had a dream last night. I don't think I think that diminishes
That's partially because of that.
We have presented a lot of
She's
evidence.
absolutely said,
You just presented
Charlie
a text
came to
message
me
and
in
said
my
this is evidence.
dreams.
Well, that's how this
Yeah.
entire thing began. You're talking about how Israel got into the conversation. It was because immediately after Charlie died, one of the first things we saw was this push to make us all think and remember how much he loved Israel. It's because the prime minister of Israel, who's fighting like a 27 front war, felt that he needed to come do a little mini tour and to be strangely to state that I did not kill Charlie Kirk, when nobody was having that thought that I can remember. Nobody was going, I wonder if Bibi Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk. And then we had
that was almost immediate, wasn't
it? And said Charlie was not changing on Israel, that he wasn't having any disagreements regarding that topic, that the day he died, he just loved Israel so much. And I demonstrated via a text message, which you just mentioned, and you're now contextualizing and pretending it was just about Tucker Carlson, which is not true. It was a part of a broader shift that Charlie was having over the last, I would say, actually on your show, it began since October 7th, which is when I began asking myself more questions about Israel as well. And so, yeah, when all of these things happen in the immediate aftermath, and then I drop a text message after everyone is denying that, Tucker Carlson then comes out and confirms the conversations that he had with Charlie. Megyn Kelly then comes out and confirms the private conversations that she had with Charlie. People then begin to ask a reasonable question, which is, why are we lying about this? If they were forthcoming with that and they had said, hey, yeah, Charlie was starting to ask questions. I think after October 7th, it's reasonable that people are starting to re-examine our relationship with Israel. We wouldn't be here today. But it has been lie after lie after lie, debunk after debunk after debunk. Yes, I did share that I had a dream that Charlie was betrayed. It's not a dream anymore. It's a reality.
I don't understand.
I look at what the organization has become, the people that they are partnering with, the lies that they are telling, the extraordinary people that they're sending out to say that I hadn't speak to Charlie since 2018. It begins to look like a conspiracy. And just as a historical fact, that entire term was created by the CIA to gaslight people. Not exactly one that makes me nervous. Like calling somebody a conspiracy theorist is essentially saying that they demand further answers. They're not accepting the Fed slop. So I'm grateful that you came today. I don't need to, like I said, take cheap shots and discuss your manner of debate or your strategy. And I'm also grateful that you shared that you had that text message today, because everybody watching knows that I have been demanding not a debate, just an open conversation with Turning Point USA. They should be here. It shouldn't be you in that chair. It should be the person that took Charlie's place, maybe Erica Kirk, maybe Andrew Colbert. He's a spokesperson. And rather than doing that, they send us another influencer. So let's see how it goes.
Just out of curiosity, are you between 0 to 100? What is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know. I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
0%.
0%.
I'm at 0.
So
with what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
So not only
the DNA just means nothing. The DNA means nothing at all. There's not even,
you're not even saying that he
one
didn't even
iota of a chance.
I would, if you said was he involved that day, as I have consistently said on my platform, I would say yes. He was.
Zero sense.
I don't know what role he played, but as the shooter, 0%.
Do you have any evidence for it?
For what? My percentage?
The fact that he didn't shoot and kill Charlie Kirk.
Yes, which I'm hoping we're going to get to all of the evidence that he feels that he has. I mean, I'm not even convinced that Charlie was shot from the rooftop on Losi that day, based on the evidence that has been.
Do you think he was shot?
I do not think that Charlie was shot from a 30-06 from Losi.
But just shot at all.
I don't know. I think that a projectile hit Charlie, and I'm open to other people's presentations, but I have not seen any compelling evidence that Charlie was shot by a 30-06.
Can we see maybe if we're going to have an olive branch to each other, if maybe we can establish what we consider the facts of the case to be first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you're not sure if he was actually shot. you're open to alternative theories.
He was definitely hit with a projectile of some description. If we're talking about was he shot from a gun, a 30-06, I would say definitively no.
Okay.
It defies common sense to think that he had a Superman neck, and even if he did have a Superman neck, which has been demonstrated, I think actually recently a YouTuber actually set up Valhalla steel cages and shot it, and it went through. So under no circumstance.
So at least not a 30-06.
Definitively
so
not.
MLK didn't get shot by a 30-06 either.
You're not necessarily closing off the idea that
based on
shot at all.
With
her
maybe smaller
caliber. Okay.
and
then
my brain's still
there's
not
some things that I'm going to make concessions
working.
on that I do think we need
Basically,
more
she's
answers
saying,
on,
yeah,
and I'm
like,
fine with
if
that.
it-
And we can get to those
if it doesn't
things
go
as
through the
well.
body, it couldn't have
The
been
other
a
thing
30-06.
is
I'm
in the
okay for those that
timeline.
are
One of the things that we
not
dispute,
aware.
I think, on the
it
timeline
went through his
is
jaw,
that
like,
you
into
think
his shoulder.
that Robinson
But like
drove hours away to a
I feel like
steakhouse
the soft part
in
of
the
it
timeline.
flushed.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what's
it
the
lodged in his
compelling
shoulder.
evidence that you think you have there?
I spoke to the owner of the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and I have seen the receipt. I know the conversation that I had, and I think it's enough that
Receipt
it
with
will
no
be presented.
identifying information
Obviously,
on it.
if this goes
And
to
the owner
trial.
has already said,
But yes, I do believe that he was in Panguitch, which is
Wasn't
near
there.
his grandparents' home.
Did he give you an unedited copy of that receipt?
I have seen an unedited copy of that receipt. It was not given to me from the owner. But I want to, before we get into like all the timeline stuff, I want to address what you think is evidence so we can keep this on par with what your claim is. Since
Well, I think that that's a piece of evidence that's in dispute. And that's why I'm
yeah, but
Because if
we're
we're not
trying to get
establishing
to
the
whether there's
timeline-
overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson did this.
Yeah,
So
if you
whether
wanna
then
use
starting
the first,
with
if you want to use the first part of that for the internal critique,
yeah,
for you,
we should
that's
go
fine.
over the actual
Okay,
evidence that
so
we feel.
The first reason that I think it's compelling evidence is that Tyler Robinson's rifle was found near the crime scene. So I would consider that to be very good evidence. And also the fact of the matter is that I dispute this claim that a 30-06 could not have made this wound. I think that that's absurd. 150 grain Remington core lock absolutely could shatter when it hits the neck of any human being. When you say that there's some steel neck and it's a smaller caliber, you have to make a counter explanation. Why wouldn't a smaller caliber also go through bone?
It could. I didn't say it can't.
Right, exactly. So if that's the case, then ammunition is going to be the critical key here. And if we have frangible ammunition, which we do in this case, a flex tip round, well, I'm sorry, not a flex tip, a soft point round from 150 grain Remington core lock, that's just a small jacket that goes around the actual lead piece. This thing could have split apart in air for all we know, but definitely upon impact. And we have the medical examiner who confirms this in a summary. And my team can bring that up, the summarization, which means he would have to be a part of some kind of conspiracy as well.
Okay. So just to start with your point about saying that the gun was found near him, near Losey Center, or I guess off in the woods. That gun, did you watch the testimony? Did you watch the preliminary hearing?
Yeah, we covered it live. Yeah.
Okay. So forgetting what the summary of the medical report was, did you watch the testimony that was given by the Caitlin Oliver, the ATF woman, Samantha Carner, any of those people who went into the science of
Yes, I recall. You're talking about
the bullet
when they-
analysis?
Yeah, when they went into the DNA.
Okay. So that's kind of the most relevant part.
Okay.
I'm not denying, I've never denied on my platform or anywhere else that a gun owned by Tyler Robinson was found near the crime scene, right? That
Okay.
doesn't remove, if you think somebody set up as a patsy, you could take a gun out of this room right now and you could walk out and plant it in a woods near a crime scene.
I
That's
agree.
not convincing evidence to
I
me.
concur with the fact that that's a possibility.
So you
logically possible.
I think, have said on a platform that you were a gunsmith.
Mhm.
Okay. And for how many years?
Many, many years.
For many years.
Mhm.
You also said that you were an Army sniper.
I wasn't a sniper in the Army.
Okay.
And I never said that. by the
Sorry,
way.
your wife tweeted that you were
Mhm.
an Army sniper.
Yeah, I don't know. Like 15 years ago, she said something.
Does
She
it
said
change
that it
15
was-
years later?
She said that it was colloquial. So I
Army
don't-
sniper is a colloquial term?
Yeah, I was never an Army sniper.
Okay. What did you do in the Army? Did you teach? She then I corrected it and said you taught rifles in the Army?
No, I didn't teach rifle. No, I taught rifles as a private citizen.
Okay.
hmm
Uh,
And I was an NRA instructor for many, many, many
Okay.
years
So,
alongside my gun shop.
As with your expertise,
Mhm.
when she gave testimony on the stand, Samantha Carner, that there was dust and there was debris
Mhm.
that was found in the gun barrel.
Yep.
And then when we had the person who, and this was, I believe, Caitlin Oliver, who explained painfully about the DNA, the prints.
Well, let's start with a point at a time.
I'm not done. You said something, so I'm going to finish my thought, right?
You don't want to do a point in time?
No, well, sure. If you want to respond to, but I want you to respond to 2 points. I want you to start with 2 points.
Okay.
Dust and debris in the gun barrel.
Yeah.
Secondly, the fact that there were 5 sets of prints, 5+ actually by the end of the testimony, 5 sets of prints for which we already had the woman who worked for the FBI forensics testify that above 2 prints, if you're taking a sample, it's no longer a science, right? She testified that when they took the sample of what was on the trigger, they saw 5+ prints. And among those 5+ prints, Tyler Robinson's was the most degraded.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like you to explain how Tyler Robinson's prints could be the most degraded when she said, actually,
wasn't it
you could have DNA
that was
on
most
something
degraded?
that you've touched. You could have DNA on something that you've never touched. And
I think so.
DNA degradation, they've looked at
now
pieces
she's saying DNA degradation.
Items.
Is it fingerprints or
20,
DNA?
40 years on
Candace?
that don't have degradation.
Right.
Yet Tyler Robinson's prints, amongst 5+ other prints,
I'm totally taking
were the
notes during
most
all this,
degraded
by
on
the
that
way.
weapon.
Yeah. So let's get into all 3 of the claims. First, with debris. When it comes to debris, firing a rifle doesn't always blow the debris out of the barrel.
Okay, that
So
you think there could be debris and dust.
Yeah.
He just fired the weapon.
Sure.
Okay.
Not only that, forest. Now, I don't know if you agree with me, but if you leave a rifle in a wooded area, it's also possible that debris could get in that way. But I'm not even sure that that's what the case is. I think it's far more likely that you fired the shot, it just didn't blow all the debris out, and it often doesn't. You'll find this if you take Grandpappy's dirty rifle and it's all dusty inside the bore, and you go fire it. You'll often look down the bore and there's still dust.
Okay.
Happens all the time.
Okay, and the prints?
Yeah, so the prints, we don't know all of the details on just yet.
We do. It was excruciatingly long testimony on the prints.
We don't, because they haven't gone to trial, so we don't know on the print front. But Tyler Robinson's DNA was on there. You made the claim that Lance Twiggs' DNA was on there, and it was not.
Well, when she gave the testimony, no, hold on. First, let's go to your
hearings.
first point, because that's wrong. We can get a fact check on that. What do you mean we don't know until it goes to trial about the degraded prints? She testified, and this is the person who took the prints.
Yes, but
not about prints.
Inside of this particular testimony, you agree with me that there's going to be much more.
We're just
of
going to
the
jump back and
DNA
forth between
analysis
prints and
on
DNA.
trial,
They're just
right?
But you also would agree
interchangeable.
that her fact is not going to change, that among the prints, his was the most degraded.
Even
So I'm
if-
asking you to
but let's-
address that. How
well,
could that
I mean,
be possible?
I could
Let's give it. Let's just grant
give
this
her a
for
bone
second
here and say that she's
as
trying to
a
say touch
possibility
DNA.
that this would be degraded.
Because I highly doubt
It's
it was
not
like
a possibility. It's
licking
a
it,
fact. The
right?
person who took
hang
it.
on. I'm just
Okay.
granting it for the sake
But that
of
may be what
argument.
she's
You should grant it
trying
because
to
it's a
say.
fact
That
so
she
now-
presented
so
in a
now
stupid
it's
way.
granted.
Touch DNA.
So what?
What do you mean, so what?
Yeah. So what? What does that prove?
It proves that if his prints were the most degraded amongst 5 of them,
Mhm.
you're going to have to explain how that's possible if he's the one that
It's
recently
DNA.
Yeah. So wait a second. You're saying that it's an impossibility that if his fingerprints are the most degraded,
I'm telling you
if
to
that's the
explain it.
case-
You're the gunsmith. So
Well, wait a
explain it.
second. How would a gunsmith give an analysis on fingerprints or DNA? Do you think that I work in a DNA laboratory
So
with
your
fingerprints?
answer is I don't know. You can just say you don't know.
But
You
I
don't
did.
have to.
But I did.
No, you said so what?
Yeah,
So say
so-
I don't know.
but
I
what would
actually don't
that-
have an
what would
explanation for that,
prove,
Candace.
though, is my question.
Well, I think that what it would prove is that it is a more viable theory that people who had stronger prints on the gun
Mhm.
may have used it more recently.
Did they say who else had fingerprints on the gun?
They named Matt Robinson explicitly,
Okay.
and this was a part of the testimony
It's a
where she was
fucking
speaking about
family
how they
heirloom.
got
Of course there's
samples
gonna be other
of,
freaking DNA
elimination
on it.
samples from the home
Or
of Amber
fingerprints.
Robinson,
Mhm.
Matt Robinson, and Lance Twiggs. Those were the 3 names they named.
So are you saying that Twiggs
Would you like me to
fingerprints-
finish my statement?
I just want to make sure I'm clarifying.
I'm trying to finish the answer, but it can't be clarified until the answer comes out of my mouth.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
this was a portion of her testimony
Mhm.
where she was explaining how they got elimination samples from the home. And she named Matt Robinson, Amber Robinson, and Lance Twiggs as the elimination samples that she was using. And so she explicitly said, some of them, so we can assume 2 out of the 3,
Mhm.
were their prints were found on the gun. She explicitly named Matt Robinson as someone who had prints on the gun, and then said there were 5 people that they had taken that sample from. And again, what's also relevant here is the earlier testimony, which came from the FBI forensics analyst, I believe it was on day 2, where she said that when you're using those mixtures and those samples and you get up to 5+, it's really hard to make any sort of a determination. So both of those things are relevant. If you can't explain why his prints are the most degraded and you're saying he is the shooter, it's not really a so what. It's an open-ended question that people have a right to pursue. It's not a conspiracy. It's actually proof of my claim that there is evidence that he was set up as a patsy.
That wouldn't prove anything about him being a patsy.
It said it's evidence to support the claim that he could have been set up as a patsy.
So this is why I said earlier, so what? Because even if it's the case, this doesn't have an explanation for it yet. That doesn't actually give you any evidence in your corner for Tyler Robinson being a patsy.
Okay,
hang on.
I just fact-checked this.
Right. You would need to actually explain how this would demonstrate Tyler DNA Robinson. This is tied into to Robinson being a patsy. Are you claiming that these fingerprints were Lance Twiggs or that he had any DNA there?
I'm saying that it could be Matt Robinson, it could be Amber Robinson. That sort of information is going to come out during the trial.
How would that tie into the idea that he's a patsy?
Yes, because if his is the most degraded prints and the information that I shared on my platform is true, that this gun was given to Tyler Robinson as an heirloom. I had conversation with members of the Robinson family, Twiggs family, both of them. You know, like I said, we're not just dreaming. And if we're having those conversations and they told me that that gun was only given to Tyler Robinson because it was a family heirloom. Okay, so it was his grandfather's gun or great-grandfather's gun. I don't remember the difference. I don't remember which one it was. And so he got it because he's the firstborn. So, but he's not much of a shooter, is what I was told. And so he has this because he inherited it, essentially. So if I get something from my grandpa and I put it up on the shelf and I own this, you could see that could be.
How do we get to the patsy part?
You don't let me ever get to the end of the sentence. So how could we get to the patsy part
okay,
if I can't get to the end of the sentence?
Wait patiently till we get to
so that could be a reasonable explanation as to why there was dust in the barrel, because he doesn't often shoot this weapon and he is indeed a fisher. And it could also be a reasonable explanation for why we have Matt Robinson's prints on this. Obviously, Lance Twiggs, even if he has prints on things, they live together. That doesn't really mean anything. But that could demonstrate that somebody took his weapon and put it somewhere. His prints are the most degraded. Somebody else's prints, there's more presence of somebody else's prints. And that could demonstrate that somebody is taking items from his house and putting it into various places. But it also could
demonstrate nothing. So the problem that you have here is that this is pure conjecture. No, this is not evidence that Tyler Robinson is a patsy. It's only evidence that you have conjectured.
I spent too much time watching CSI.
Well, if it's the case that these are the more degraded prints, then therefore that means must be patsy because dad's fingerprints on gun.
I didn't say must be patsy.
Describe how this actually links in to Robinson being a patsy.
Okay, I just described that for you, so I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, so I'm going to move on from that. But to just go back to your point about this is not evidence, you can't make that claim because the entire basis for why you think that there's evidence for Tyler Robinson being the person that took the shot is based off of the hearing under Utah 1102 rules, meaning that they are doing the exact same thing that I am doing. This is the state. You said you're here to represent.
Check the Israel thing real quick.
The state's position you think is strong and convincing.
What I'm here to do is represent my own opinion based on the presented
11 morning. Netanyahu did not deny the claim.
Demonstrate any
patch. No, 3 p.m.
Because that rule is hearsay. So you can't say at the same time, Candace, you're not allowed to. And what that means under the Utah rule,
can you
which
find
I'm sure you know, because I'm sure you watched the preliminary hearing and yourself understand what that means.
Yeah, it was an interview at 3 p.m.
presented is going to be allowed. The overwhelming majority of it is not going to be allowed at the trial.
Greta Van Susteren.
I don't think all the evidence that was put in was hearsay.
Okay, you didn't watch this case.
But not only that, no.
This is a huge point.
This
is crazy that you don't know this.
We can call for a fact check if all the evidence
we need more than a fact check. This was every single day. Utah Rule 1102.
They want to go there. So they said there's a medical examiner's explanation of the shooting that's in the back. Rob, if you want to pull it up, and then Candace, if anybody from your team wants to pull something up, no problem as well. But they're requesting it. If you guys got it, pull it up so we can show it. And in the interim, Ken, is that it?
Yeah. So I'll read this.
Just what are we looking at, just so we know?
Yeah. So this says the bullet, or at least part of it, sequentially perforated the interior left of Mr. Kirk's neck, strap muscles of the left side of the neck. This is a summary, by the way. Left common cartoid on the left external jugular veins. The bullet also obliterated the left side C27 vertebrae, transacted the cervical spinal cord. Medical examiner observed a significant portion of Kirk's cervical spinal cord was traumatically absent. Mr. Kirk suffered from other severe injuries, including bilateral, apical, and posterior intercausal hemorrhages, pulmonary, apical hemorrhages, multiple disruptions to the thyroid, et cetera, et cetera. So the summary of the examination is that he was shot.
Okay.
That was what they were pulling that up for.
Okay. And I'm not disputing that he could have been hit with a projectile. We're not disputing that. So I don't know why this was brought up as a fact check. Could you bring up 1102 Utah rule? Because this is an unbelievable point that you're making by saying that I am not allowed to infer off of evidence.
You can infer. I'm trying to follow the inference.
But your entire reason, like you asserted that you believe there's overwhelming evidence on the basis of what we saw in the preliminary hearing. The entire preliminary hearing was hearsay.
Yeah, I'm fine with your inferences.
But no, you just literally said I couldn't do that. Yes, I can.
No, I didn't. I'm just saying from your inference, how do we get to Patsy?
This is how you got to Shooter. The Tyler Robinson did it.
No,
the same way that you got to
Tyler
Robinson.
From that.
Yes, you did. You again, this is something important. So we should pull up a fact check about what the 1102 Utah, and under their constitution, for the sake of a preliminary hearing, they do not have to have hard evidence. They don't have to put people on the trial.
They don't have to.
But no, that's why the entire hearing was basically hearsay. Officer Bagley was saying,
not all of it, like I said.
But it's considered reliable hearsay.
Outside of the one that
it is admissible. It's not. It doesn't mean everything is hearsay.
Your entire brand of saying
because a witness statement in Utah is considered reliable
hearing
hearsay.
is based off of hearsay. In fact, Lance's testimony before they could have had about an hour debate, actually maybe it was more than an hour debate before he sat, and they said this is not going to be allowed. You wouldn't even be allowed to do this. We'd be able to cross-examine him. The questions that they're asking Lance are all leading. And what did he say? Well, I'm the magistrate under Utah Constitution. 1102. It is my job to allow all of this.
By the way, I'm putting notes in Discord
here that we can then move to a trial, which will then they would not allow this stuff. They would say we get to cross-examine Lance. Lance just can't willy-nilly say.
I'm not disputing.
But the entire substance of your argument is that people can't infer off of evidence. That's what you're saying to me. When you say Candace, you can't talk about the degraded prints, which is a fact.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Infer off of that.
Didn't say that.
Saying prints, it's driving me crazy.
You're just literally making stuff up. So here's what the position is. I'm asking this.
I'm saying that I think you. Let's pull that up. Let's pull that up. I am doing exactly what the state did. I am looking at a piece of evidence, and I am saying.
But you're not showing me how you get there.
Can you describe to the audience what Rule 1102
so this, just so everybody who's watching us at home understands what I am saying, even if he doesn't. What Andrew is arguing is that I don't have the right to extrapolate from a fact like
just making it up. Just purely making it up. I'm asking based on
Andrew.
Based on
can
your
I show my evidence? You just showed yours. Reliable hearsay.
You'll get a chance.
Reliable hearsay in criminal preliminary examinations. The entire preliminary hearing that you just saw was on the basis of reliable hearsay, and what that means essentially. The people who are making the statements can just say, Patrick told me
DNA.
That he did this on Monday. And Patrick's not here. And that is, they can allow that into the hearing. That's just because it's just meant to be probative.
Autopsy.
And so it's the state saying, here's what we have inferred. So you are allowed to take a piece of evidence and then you are allowed to infer off of that evidence. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Case in point, that's a demonstration that's a demonstration.
How about the video?
I said, the prints were the most degraded off of Tyler Robinson. And from that, what I am inferring is that it's plausible that Tyler Robinson was set up.
That doesn't.
She knows what hearsay is.
That's the point in contention.
It's not a point in contention. If you're saying it's a
point,
it
is the point in contention.
It's not the point in contention. I'm telling you that is what the entire hearing allowed for. So the evidence that he is describing, that he is using to argue his case, is all based on inference, not fact.
Great.
Inference, not fact. So what they are inferring off of the facts.
So again, we're going to take this, and I'm just going to even grant it because it's irrelevant. I'm asking how you get to the inference that even if you dispute that piece of evidence, that means Patsy. I'm looking for the logical chain for how you get to that inference.
What I am telling you is it's the exact same way that when you tweeted, I think that this evidence is overwhelming. When they say, that looks like Tyler Robinson's car. He drives a similar car. Okay. They are inferring that that's Tyler Robinson.
Can you walk me through the inference? So that I understand.
It's not a fact. It's not a fact. When you show a blurry image, which you kept citing that we have images.
I'm talking about your inference that the fingerprints, even if they're degraded, equals Patsy. How do you get that inference?
I didn't say it equals Patsy. I think it is enough evidence that it should be explored, which is exactly what this preliminary in the inverse.
That's not what in dispute. What's in dispute is when you said, I'm using this as evidence that he could have been a Patsy. I'm asking, how do you get the inference to Patsy from that?
Because what I am saying is that it shows that somebody else had more DNA presence on that gun than Tyler Robinson did. So it is plausible, which is all they're doing. They're presenting plausibility based off of the facts. Okay. It is plausible that somebody just took his gun and put it there. That's it.
Is there equally
that's how it works.
And is there equally 100 other plausible explanations?
I think that's the reason why most people are exploring when things don't make sense.
Got it.
So yes, at the beginning of that, this is how the court process works.
So
just so we're clear,
if there's 100 other plausible explanations, then Candace, why is it that we should go with this idea that it was a Patsy?
I'm not saying that we should go with the idea that it was a Patsy. I am saying that there is.
I thought that was the whole defense. Your whole claim.
No,
today.
My whole claim was that there is more evidence that he is set up as a Patsy.
How does that equal evidence of Patsy?
I don't know how many times I can say this. Like I'm saying that I am using the exact same mechanism that you are accepting for some reason in the Utah courtroom.
Yeah.
Right. To say, I'm going to look at the evidence and I'm going to infer an alternative theory. So you just saw the states and you're accepting it. And they have not presented any concrete facts. You listed on your own Twitter that what you found to be convincing was something that looked like his car pulled into the driveway, a blurry image.
No, I didn't.
A standard white guy coming up the steps that could literally be anyone.
This never happened.
Can we get a fact check on that? Can we pull up his tweet where he goes over the four?
I didn't say that's what convinced me.
When you actually didn't say it's what convinced me, but you said this is the evidence that you found to be overwhelming. And you named, I believe, actually 5 things. I think you said it was his car. You said it was.
Well, there's multitudes of things that I find.
You just said you didn't say it, so we're going to get a fact check on that.
That's the thing about evidence.
You said the blurry images coming up the steps.
It's
quite literally when Officer Bagley testified,
when they just start stacking up,
making inference. This is the most. I thought
that's when you actually have a case.
Testimony I've ever heard. And pardon me, it was actually David Hull.
Not about one
they
little
asked
piece
him
of
a question. How did you know the guy in the maroon shirt was the same as the guy that came up the stairs later that was wearing the American flag black shirt? And he said, they're wearing the same shoes.
Why is that absurd?
That's how you decided these two are the same people. Oh, wow. What a scientific. They're both wearing Converses. Okay. That's an absurd thing to say. Converse. That is not evidence that these are the same people who are both wearing Converses. That was what he said. That's what flew on the stand.
But I still don't understand how that would be absurd. If somebody,
it's an absurd thing.
For instance, if somebody were to change their clothes but keep the same shoes on, wouldn't you utilize the shoes to try to track that person? If
the idea that on a college campus, 2 people wearing this totally different outfits but both wearing Converses can't happen is such an absurdity that I don't even need to argue that. I'm just going to let people deal. Why is it absurd? Just concede that point. Obviously, it's an absurd thing to say.
I'm not
I know
sure,
these are the same people because they're both wearing Converse.
Yeah, I'm not sure if in context that's what happened. But even if it is,
you can get a fact check on it.
But even if it is,
again,
if they're utilizing inferences, whenever we're dealing with logic and we're dealing with making a logical inference, we're going to take the entire collaboration of evidence and then we're going to make inferences from that. You would do that with any type of logical proposition. Otherwise, you could never have a true or false claim.
But you just told me I couldn't.
So that never happened. You're just making stuff up. So anyway, when we're talking about logical inferences, what I'm looking for is the logical inferences that you have that Tyler Robinson's a Patsy based on the totality of evidence that you have.
We can keep going through your other evidence, but we should find his tweet where he lists the reasons that he was convinced.
So let's start with the 30-6.
No,
I think that's fine.
Your team's looking for. Do you remember how long ago that was?
Ridiculous.
The tweet of the 5. Did you delete it or no?
No,
did you delete
tweets.
Okay, cool. I just look for. He said
unless he misspells something.
It was his car. It was his.
Just like I said.
It was the car, and it was definitely the staircase photos, and it was when the trial was going on.
Okay, she has it. Perfect. If you got Skylar has it. If you want to pull it up so we can see it.
Somebody said, so give me the clear evidence right here. I want you to provide it right here. All I heard from the investigator was, we believe this to be Tyler Robinson. Is belief something you go as a fact? You wrote the car pulling in. That's a totally blurry image. Robinson getting out of it. You have no idea if that's Tyler Robinson. The fact that he is seen 4 other times on camera. The fact being just a standard white boy with brown hair was seen walking up staircase. The DNA on the roof, we should discuss that. And on the screwdriver that he left behind, it's overwhelming, man.
Yeah, but that's not an exhaustive list.
Well, just so we're clear, you did tweet it.
But it's not an exhaustive.
Yeah, but just 5 seconds ago, you should concede.
You said I only said this one thing and said that was overwhelming, actually.
That's not what I said.
It is. You could even
Patrick,
pull your own
did I
clip.
say that?
Can you fact check if that was said or not? I did not hear her say
So the
this.
thing is funny here is like we still aren't getting to any of these inferences. So
why are you pivoting?
So
but just say you were wrong. It's cool to just say I was wrong.
I'm not wrong. So back to the tweet aspect here. It was really funny. That's not an exhaustive list of why I find it.
I didn't say it was exhaustive. I just said you said it.
And on top of no, you didn't. You said that I only said this one thing. And then said, based on that, it's over. Well, I didn't. You didn't mention that I mentioned the screwdriver, DNA, all of these other things. You never mentioned any of that. So, no, you're actually incorrect there. But on top of that,
I'm going to rewind real quick and see if I can.
Yes, I'm okay. Anyway, back to the evidence
if you're
itself.
okay.
Yes,
actually, I'm glad you're asserting that you're okay. I wasn't worried about your health. I'm just saying that I just said you tweeted this. You said, no, I didn't. We got a fact check. And now you're like just going to gaslight me and pretend that I said.
There's no gaslighting.
It wasn't exhaustive. I never said that. I just said you did say this.
Zero gaslighting.
I didn't say you couldn't have said more, but I would like to address what you said in that tweet.
Time. If this is how you want to spend it interrogating my position, you can do it that way.
Don't forget to mark.
I'm just addressing what you asserted on your Twitter was like the hard evidence that convinced you was overwhelming. That's literally your debate claim.
That's not what you said. That's not actually, in fact, what happened in that exchange. I was here for it.
So what's your position here?
Yeah, so my position is that based on all of the evidence, which has been demonstrated, at least all the evidence to my knowledge, that I am actually not seeing anything that's compelling as an alternative theory. I'm not seeing anything which is convincing me of something otherwise than what the state is presenting as evidence. That's my position. If that's what you're asking me.
So just going back to what you did actually tweet, is it fair for me to ask questions about that?
Is that the only tweet you're going to ask me about?
Well, we're addressing your claim that the evidence is overwhelming, and this is a tweet where you listed what you felt was overwhelming. I think that's fair,
but not
right? I feel like that's fair,
but not exhaustive. Just so you know.
And I never said it was exhaustive,
even
though you said I did.
Sure, whatever you want.
But yeah, so going back to that, all of that, as you say to me, well, Candace, why are you addressing and making inferences off of the testimony?
No, I never asked you why. You're making inferences. I asked you how, with the inference you made, you got to the conclusion.
Okay. So I would like to know how you got to the conclusion. And I'm just going to throw it right back at you because for some reason you permit yourself to do it. And that's what I'm demonstrating is that you permit yourself to do it. And then you say, when I do it, it's a conspiracy, right?
No.
How are you able to infer off of blurry staircase images that is Tyler Robinson?
Yeah. So in that particular case, what you do is you take that evidence, you combine it with other evidence. So it's not just that Tyler Robinson is seen in the staircase.
Why are you calling Tyler Robinson? That's what I want to get
to. I just fact checked. Andrew was wrong, by the way.
Tyler Robinson, then you would just have to humor me. I think it is, so I'm using the name.
But why do you think
she didn't get to say 4 of them because he cut her off? But she said 2 of them, and then she was going to start listening to others. But then she asked for a fact check.
Said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on footage at the campus. Said it in his own messages. On top of that, Twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say.
I would. I'm sorry. I actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
I'm paraphrasing,
can
but
we
it was
pull that up?
Yeah, I think that's not right.
Twigs himself said that he had some maybe a tiny bit of doubt, but it sure looked like Tyler Robinson inside of this various surveillance footage that he saw.
So Lance. Sorry.
Hang on. So there's multiple reasons why it is that I believe that that's Tyler Robinson, not just because of blurry footage.
Did you have a dream? Just kidding.
No, it's because I combined multitudes of evidences.
So let's address those multitude of evidences. The first one we're working on a fact check on because I do not ever remember him tweeting. That's me in the staircase. Or texting.
Didn't tweet it.
Texting that's me in the staircase. I think that. I didn't
say that. I said I literally didn't. What I said is that he texted over, you'll be able to see me in footage at UVU. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
Yeah. Could we get a fact check on that? The second thing you said was Lance's testimony and actually what Lance says is I'm not 100%.
I agree.
But in terms of what he wears, again, pointing out the absurdity, he wears Converses. He wears sneakers. If his boyfriend is not 100%, I'd like to understand why Andrew Wilson is overwhelmed by it. That's what I'm trying to get to. And lastly, I would like to remind you that Lance's statement would not be permitted. This was a huge part of the preliminary hearing, that they were leading. All the questions that were asked of him were leading, so they would be struck down at the actual trial. And also, I would like to remind you that he got use immunity for that. Use immunity.
I understand.
Which means like...
That happens, by the way, all the time in these cases.
And I'm wondering why it particularly happened for Lance and this testimony. And I would also like to point out that something that's remarkable about this, again, leaning to my perspective, that Lance has a lot more, which I have said many times, Lance has a lot more involvement than the feds are letting us know. I think more is going to come out
that either.
Because they interviewed him on September 11th. And then for whatever reason, just ahead of what was supposed to be slated as the preliminary hearing, which was initially supposed to be in May, they bring him back to do this interview, which in my opinion should have never been allowed. And I actually agree with the defense that it's a violation of his constitutional rights not to allow them to have cross-examined him. But I understand Utah 1102, do what you do. It's all hearsay. But to allow it in that way for him to just be able to also have use immunity, knowing that he's not going to get in trouble. He could literally get up there and lie about anything, and he's not going to get in trouble because the use immunity was given to him in April, I believe. April 28th is when they gave that testimony to the defense. I think they shot it in like April 20th of 2026. That is not compelling to me for somebody who has use immunity to give a testimony and to say, I'm not really sure, but definitely like he wears jeans and stuff.
That's not what he said.
He did. Actually, you can get a fact check on that.
Yeah, that's
Skyler,
not,
I think
he said
pull
much
it up
more
if you
than
want
that.
to. So a couple things we have. We have Rule 801, Tyler's messages, that says it's not hearsay. But first, go to what Candace is asking about. Skyler, I think you have it. You just texted me if you want to pull it up. You said you have the text.
The 11 whatever. It doesn't mean it's all hearsay. It means some of it can be.
I literally said to you, it's not an oof. I said I didn't remember this, and I'm happy to have a fact check on that. Okay, I didn't call for the fact check saying you're wrong. I literally said I don't remember that from the time.
I'm just saying to you, like, I'm trying to be concise for you.
And then also bring the 801 that you just said. What was the other one?
Yep, the 801. Tyler messages saying it's not hearsay. If you have that as well.
We're getting there.
Wait, what are we saying is not hearsay?
Statements that are not hearsay. A statement that meets the following conditions is not hearsay.
It was hearsay. They said it in the trial.
Hang on. Okay. Is consistent with the declarant's testimony and the declarant denies having made the statement or has forgotten, or is consistent with the declarant's testimony and is offered to rebut the express implied charge that the declarant recently fabricated or acted in recent improper influence or motive in testifying. So then wouldn't that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
No, so the issue with his
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Would that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
So the opposing party, which down the line, like I said, they talked about this for about an hour and a half, and they discussed how if Lance was in court and he was giving his first party, giving his testimony as the opposing party, whatever, all this would be fine. They had an issue with how the questions were being asked and that they were not allowed to cross-examine him. So that is why his video testimony would not be accepted in the main trial. And what I said to you is this entire preliminary hearing.
What's the over-under on her storming out at
Utah's
least once
1102. So they are allowed to just use hearsay.
No, you the contract.
It was hearsay, actually.
Yeah,
the overwhelming majority.
It probably depends on if she comes back or not.
I'm leaning now into my opinion that some scientific aspects, which they kept assuming, like the federal rule 403 or 402, some of those parts were quite scientific.
Sounds like you're backtracking quite a bit.
No, I'm not backtracking at all. What do you help you? Where do you feel like I'm backtracking? It literally was done under Utah's 1102.
Yeah, nobody disputed that.
Hearsay.
It's just whether or not most of it was overwhelmingly hearsay.
Yes,
is that the case?
It was. Yes, okay. That's a fact. I'm not backtracking on that at all.
What are the things?
How many times did you? I mean, if you watch the preliminary hearing, it's like they constantly. I'm 1102, 1102, 1102, 1102, 1102, and the reason for that is because it's allowed. I'm not saying it's illegal. It's allowed at this stage, but I'm just reminding you that when you're going to sit across from someone and your claim is going to be, "Where is your hard evidence? This is what I heard, and I agree with what I'm watching." You are watching the state put on a hearsay preliminary hearing, and all of those things are not going to be allowed, right? Even when they got into witness statements and things of that nature. There's a reason why they swear you in and they say, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth. Did you, write this statement? So it's the overwhelming majority of what you saw was hearsay because other people were representing other people's statements. They were saying they had conversations. We don't know where it came from, all allowed at this stage. Okay. But it's hearsay. So
but even a lot of that stuff, may not fall under hearsay under what we just read, right?
Yeah.
That you were speaking about, like when you're just when you say that we're going off vibes, you don't know Tyler Robinson, okay? His boyfriend is not 100% it was him. So I'm going back to your points that you made that this was overwhelming evidence for you. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, overwhelming just means
you
convincing.
can't consider another option that there could have been another white guy wearing Converses on campus.
Yeah, do you agree with me that I said?
Because if he didn't think it looked like him at all, he would have said that.
But
he said no.
It's just
that
very
looks like him.
To me.
Yeah, and I find it to be completely unconvincing.
And that's fair. I understand that
I looked at those blurry photos that they presented and said, your statement on right now is that he's wearing Converses and he also that's just crazy.
But these aren't the evidences that I find the most convincing.
Well, you said that in your Twitter.
That's not the only thing I've ever said on my Twitter about this case.
Right, but the question that was asked of you was pretty direct.
Yeah.
Right? What did you find to be...
This is not an exhaustive list of all the things that I find
that's not what you said
convincing.
In the tweet. You can tweet longer too. It's not like we're limited now to 240 characters anymore.
So anything that I tweet and all other tweets that I've ever made are now excluded because I used the word overwhelming in this one.
Well,
even though all of this information I've said so publicly over and over and over again is what informs my position for why I'm convinced on the case. That's bizarre to me.
I feel like this is Andrew versus Andrew. Somebody asked you a question. What are the points that you find to be the most overwhelming? And you answered.
You mean from that day, from that particular day of the hearing that I was responding to?
Okay, this is something you find to be more overwhelming? Let me answer that question.
Yes,
okay,
that's what I was saying.
Okay, go ahead, go on. What do you find to be more overwhelming?
Yeah.
Can we do this? Do we want to get into it, or do we want to do a quick ad break? Are you guys good to keep going, or
I'm fine. But we can also.
Would you like to take a quick break?
Doesn't matter to me either way.
If we're going into a different topic, that may be another 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I don't want to stop you guys in the middle of it.
Let's end it on what you find to be more overwhelming.
Yeah. So if for me, it's the confessions, the text messages, all of that is what I consider to be, from my opinion, that's the most convincing for me.
Okay, we should discuss the text message confessions when we get back, if you'd like to.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. Folks, we're going to take a quick ad break. We will be back in 3.5 minutes. Thank you.
All right, you guys.
Let's run a pre-roll. You want to run one of our pre-rolls?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you're going to, yeah.
Hopefully we have some that are approved and actually act.
Offer does not match billing earnings. What the hell does that even mean?
We hear a lot about crypto. Here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. Instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Now fast forward to today. Everyone's heard of crypto. Getting started still feels complicated. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. Takes all that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want. Bitcoin, dollar-backed stable coins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay. So you can use your credit card, debit card, and bank and be up and running in minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like me directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. In just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some.
Well, that was obnoxious. I'm sorry about the double audio.
Yeah, I didn't
sorry about that.
To come through.
Yeah, where the hell did that come from?
I have no idea.
That was an approved version, so.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That was very obnoxious. I thought it was just feeding back through yours or something, but no. Because you muted, I muted.
Maybe it's because my tab wasn't muted.
Oh, you were still sharing.
Yeah, that was our problem. Oh well.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
It's our first time running an ad with using Rumble Studio. I'm just like.
I say, yeah, I don't want to hear her talk about her ads. I thought the wellness company was like illegal because it's literally giving you prescription medication with nothing actually
I think
actually prescribed, like actual, like but examination, no examination, but giving you prescriptions. Pretty sure that's illegal.
Yeah, I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I muted it so we don't have to listen to her voice any more than we have to.
Yes, please. Her wearing that hat is really fucking weird.
Mm-hmm. She's got some interesting merch.
Yeah.
Have you seen her Maca hat in the description for it? Yeah, it's MACA, and then it's got
What does that mean?
So the C kind of looks like a G because it's got a cross on the bottom of it. But so everyone's like, it's Make America Christian again, Make America Christian again. But in the description it says Make America Candace again.
Oh wow.
And then her supporters like, oh no, that must have been a mistake. She's too busy to know what's going up in her merch store. Bitch, no, she isn't.
No, she isn't.
I don't care how big you are. If it's got your name on it, you approve every single fucking thing.
Yep.
Hi, Avarice. I see you. Yeah, this is, I mean, I think that this is extremely embarrassing for her, this whole thing. Because she
didn't answer inference at all.
No.
Yeah.
But
now she did catch Andrew in that one where she did clearly say there were 4 things, but he only let her say 2 of the things, and he said she only said one thing.
You have to be somewhat intelligent to be able to grift and manipulate as many people as she has.
Oh yeah, I mean,
doing.
Yeah.
Oof.
Anyways, we know to mute the tab next time. So how long is this break? Do we know? 10, 15 minutes? I'm sure it's a smoke break.
3.5.
3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly specific break.
That's what PBD said. It's 3.5. Inquisition keeps talking about the second half. We're not in halves here. We're in not even trimesters. This is
trimesters. What are we, pregnant? I guess she is, but
trimesters are also in school. But it's going to be. I also use trimesters in school. There are some schools that actually break into trimesters instead of semesters or quarters.
I've always seen semesters. Anyways, doesn't really matter. That is completely off subject.
Well, so this is like the first chunk. We're just going to call them chunks because this is supposed to be like a 3.5 hour debate minimum.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have to listen to Candace for 3.5 hours.
Minimum.
Is there going to be an intermission?
I'm sure there will be. I mean, she's pregnant. She's going to have to eat and shit like that. She's not going to eat on camera.
She's probably eating right now.
So, yeah, it'll be a long one.
Yeah. So let's go through the little fact checking real quick. Because I know we were trying to talk during the thing, but so Candace said that Netanyahu denied killing Charlie Kirk before anybody actually was saying that. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously. The fact check is the claim was made at 11:06 a.m. Central Time by Jackson Hinkle. Netanyahu denied the claim in a 3 p.m. Central Time interview on Newsmax with Greta Van Susteren. So.
Yeah, and then
that that thing has 2.6 million views, and I'm sure it got most of those in the very beginning. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. And then she does keep getting confused on what the difference between fingerprints and DNA.
Yeah. Can't believe Andrew didn't correct her on that. Like, are we talking about fingerprints or are we talking about DNA? Because that's two different things.
she also claimed that Lance Twiggs' DNA was on the rifle. She may have said fingerprints. Lance Twiggs didn't have anything on the rifle, just on the towel and the screwdriver, which are both considered household items. So his DNA being on them would be completely normal. And he was also the minority contributor on them, whereas Robinson was the majority contributor on those two items. And I've been scrolling X and also like keeping up with what other people are saying, and I have to like look this up and confirm it, but someone was saying that fresh DNA would degrade quicker than older DNA. I'm not sure if that's accurate. But I think it would also matter on what the source of the DNA was, because there's like how much was Tyler Robinson sweating compared to someone else that might be firing the gun in a non-stressful situation. Back up.
I think we're back. By the way, just an FYI for those of you that are watching the Crucible, there's 30,000 concurrent they're watching. Support.
Oh, he says it.
Wilson. That's your fans of his. Click that subscribe button and help him grow his business. If you're watching Candace, I think there's 225 to 250,000 concurrent right now.
That's because
We'd like to see that 300, 400,000 number
subscribers
on there. Click that button as well to subscribe and share it with your friends and family. And if you're watching it on PBD Podcast, do the same there as well. This allows us to have more conversations like this. The mainstream media hates the fact that we're having these conversations right now. Just so you know, they want to control it. This is free for all. This is what's best for the audience. That's why we like freedom of speech. Having said that, let's go back into the text conversation you were having, right?
Okay.
Let's stay there, and then we'll go into the cross-examination stuff in about 30 minutes.
Okay. That sounds fair. Okay. So, yeah, I used basically three pillars for the totality of the evidence. Okay. So if you want to know exactly what those three pillars are, this is going to be the testimony with the text messages and the confessions. This is going to be the physical evidence. And this is going to be the totality of the summary of the case. Okay. Mm-hmm. So right now we're focusing on one of these pillars in my defense, which is fine. I understand that I have to defend my claims as well. So when we're talking about the messages themselves, they seem totally valid. I have no idea why they wouldn't be valid. And I have not heard any good explanation for why it is that these messages should even be questioned. The defense hasn't questioned them, as far as I'm aware. Nobody has actually questioned that these messages came from Robinson to date, except perhaps you and other people who are kind of in that camp. But why should I question these exactly? I'm not sure.
Okay, so first let's just go over legally what the point is of a probative hearing. The defense is not they're not there to say or to argue or to defend themselves at all. They have to address what is being presented by the state. Okay. So they're not here to then say, let me give you an explanation for these text messages.
Agreed.
The relevant portion of what the defense did do was actually before we got to the preliminary hearing. I had mentioned that it was initially supposed to be scheduled for some time in May. They asked for an extension. That reading through those filings of why they were requesting an extension and why I actually believe their extension should have been granted, because they did not receive discovery on their text messages. That was one of the reasons. There were many reasons why they wanted to have an extension, but this was crucial, right? So forget just the general sense that these messages feel off. And yes, you are allowed to have an intuition. You are allowed to have a sense and just go, this is very weird. We're being told this kid had like above a 4.0, Tyler Robinson. He wanted to get away. I mean, the text messages almost run head to head with themselves. Like he wanted to get away with it. So he thought the best thing to do would be to text a full confession of what he did, down to what I didn't even remember, saying, yeah, and that's also me in the surveillance footage.
The defense used the text messages in their brief.
People have common sense.
Confirming that they are real.
But then we're also supposed to believe that he put a note under because and burn this and get rid of the evidence. But don't worry about that because I'm about to text you.
No, that's hearsay.
Off. It felt weird off the bat. they were texting. We're told he's like a gamer who's using a Dremel to carve expressions, catch fascist, but then suddenly he's writing like a 1700
also, as a Helldivers
novelist
player, he did actually get the 500K code correct.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer, so we'll say that. If we start debating that, you'll be way over my head.
But yes,
but my point being is just that, just first, it's a general sense of why people had a reaction to these messages that seemed like they were written by Jane Austen rather than like a kid who games and writes catch.
Yeah, but do you see how that's intuition?
That is, I just said that. I said just parking aside the intuition of just something feels wrong here, which you should follow your intuition. You should actually do that. If you say the COVID vaccine is running out, feels like it's coming out too fast and there's too many celebrities telling me to do it, I'd like to take a pause. That's good. That is, you are allowed to do that. I believe in intuition.
But hang on. Let me respond a little bit here because you've been going for a minute. Let me at least respond to a little bit of this. So the first thing is like,
there's no fucking pause.
Vaccine, not trusting the COVID vaccine en masse was the science. That wasn't just intuition. That was the science. There was tons of competing science. Now they tried to suppress it. That's true. But there was tons of competing science for why you shouldn't take a risky mRNA vaccine and masks and things like this.
Kept telling us was 100%.
Now, when you're talking about intuition, though, when you say trust your intuition, I'm actually giving a different message. You actually should be very wary about trusting just your intuition. It is true that intuition can be useful, but it has to be tempered with logic, reason, explanatory power, and evidence, not just intuition.
That's why we're parking it aside. Intuition is the first step. Something feels off, right?
Okay.
That was my first step with COVID. I don't like the way it's being pushed. It shouldn't require a celebrity campaign, by the way. Another element of that is why people don't feel good about the Charlie thing. Why do we have so many influencers saying things? It's over. Why are you guys all using the same adjective? Can you switch it up? I'm overwhelmed. Like, chill. Like, you could say, I found some
kind
parts
like
compelling. I think this should go.
Like
I found some parts compelling. Maybe we should, see at the trial. That would be
Don't you think Fed slop's a buzzword for the counter industry?
But everyone on the same day of watching this trial, which was, I would say, not overwhelming at all. Nobody came in medium, right? No one came in like there were some interesting aspects. This was a little suspect. But I do think it's enough to go to trial. They all came in like they were passing away and we're going to die from being overwhelmed.
Well, they're trusting their intuition.
Okay. Well, actually, in that scenario, they're looking at the preliminary hearing and have a reaction to it. It wasn't their intuition. But like I said, parking aside, just getting parking that aside, just a general intuition. Some might be second messages. Then we look at the filings, which came from the defense, and they were requesting an extension saying, we have gone to the prosecution and have requested all of this stuff in discovery. Yes, you are saying that you took Lance's phone, okay, and that you collected his phone on September 11th and that you sent it off or whatever. You took a picture of the text messages, and we are being given these text messages to review. Crucially, Kathy Nestor said, I have not even been given access to my client's phone during this hearing. She said, I haven't even been given access to my client's phone. She can't tell you, as a part of their discovery request, it's not enough to say to me, Candace, I just got a text message from Candace. And I say, I didn't send that text message. Maybe that's what her client's saying. We don't know because we're not at the trial, right? Maybe he didn't send those messages. Could there be someone who logged into his Discord? Could there be someone who logged in to his Apple? George could be sending text messages right now. We are married. He has every login that I have. And remember, he's up for a death sentence. So if I'm able to sow reasonable doubt with common sense, he may come during the trial and when they actually have to address these points.
I'm sorry, but there's also logs that tell you
Lance, my boyfriend,
who logged in and where they logged in from. So you could tell us somebody else logged in.
I know that we have the capability because my husband will send messages from my phone. It is not convincing to the public. She's
getting very emotional.
When, for whatever reason, the FBI would not, FBI combined with the SBI, it was not the prosecution's fault. They made that clear during that hearing, would not allow them that discovery request to be able to see where did that message come from. Because you're saying my client was here, right? I want to know if that message actually was generated from his iPhone when he was waiting to retrieve his, rifle, hoping that the pooch doesn't have a bad sniffer, like just weird messages. I want to make sure that, yes, it was actually him. He was holding his phone and his boyfriend didn't just log in to his computer when he was home. Lance was his boyfriend. That is a crucial fact here. That discovery was not met by the time we got to preliminary hearing. So I remain unconvinced by these text messages.
Because it's preliminary. You don't go in depth into the evidence.
The idea here is the
She doesn't
reason
understand
that
that.
you
She got
don't
all
think
of
that
her
these are
court
valid
knowledge
text
from
messages, and you don't,
CSI.
right?
It has not been proven that these messages are valid, and they don't sound valid to me.
Mhm.
I don't think anyone, even if someone was selling like a, I don't know, pot on the corner, would be smarter than to write a full-fledged confession. He even writes, "I thought I would
They
get
text
away
message all the
with
time.
really,
They go,
never
hey,
to tell you
you got a
until
quarter I
old
can buy?
age."
Okay,
And
meet
then we're
me
being
here.
told that he wanted
I
to
really wish Andrew would ask her what was the legal standard that was being applied to a preliminary hearing, because I bet you she doesn't know.
somebody has start to
Oh, I'm
finish
sure she does.
written an entire, I'm in this surveillance footage and I'm here.
And what I mean by that is beyond reasonable doubt, which is not it. Probable cause, which is it.
And you love them more than anything.
I do.
And then I think she should define probable cause, because I don't think she knows what that means either.
Wouldn't you be out telling everybody and their brother that you thought that they were innocent? And also, wouldn't you maybe recant and say, hey, he didn't actually confess to me. He didn't actually, none of this happened the way that the state is presenting it. What would have prevented the parents from testifying?
Well, two things I can answer that. And if you watch my show, I keep telling you it's not vibes. So right after the shooting happened, Lance,
it's not vibes. Prove it.
The FBI put him into a safe house they paid for. They went to the parents as well, to Matt Robinson and Amber, basically said, your life's at risk. There could be somebody who jumps up and wants to avenge Charlie Kirk. And, we're going to watch you. And they went into a federal safe house. What happened next is that they started thinking that the feds were maybe gonna, maybe not as honest as they thought. And
how do you know any of that?
So you gotta watch the show, right?
Yeah, no. How do you know that?
I had a source within the Robinson family.
You have a source, an anonymous source, of course. There's no way for us to verify that what you're saying right now is actually even true.
Do you find it to be reliable hearsay?
No, I don't find it to be reliable.
No.
I'm just doing what the prosecution
What you're doing is
did.
a cool story.
It's
you're
not.
Giving,
they gave names.
You must have made names.
You're giving us a cool story.
Wait,
you're saying that according to your sources, that the reason
I have a source
that the parents haven't recanted any of this.
Candace is psycho.
Recanted what? They have no statement from the parents.
Wait, I just want to make sure that
plot twist is me
being reported in mainstream media that your father came to you and said, "Hey, is this you? What's going on here?" And then he and one of his buddies took you in where you turned yourself in. You wouldn't go out and be like, no, that's not what happened.
That isn't what happened, though. You're just wrong on this.
Okay. Maybe I'm paraphrasing. What am I wrong on?
What is sorry, just so I'm clear, where is your evidence that the parents turned him in?
Well, no. I didn't say that.
You said there's the mainstream media?
I said with a sheriff friend.
Yes.
But the father did confront him.
The father confronted what?
Tyler Robinson.
And where did you learn this? That the Tyler confronted him?
That's part of the official documents. Our fact checkers can pull that up. But yes.
But I'm saying, when you say official documents, do you mean you saw this on CNN or you saw this play out in the hearing?
No, this was one of the things that I went through and fact checked pre-debate.
Are you talking about the charging documents?
I think it could have been in the charging documents, but we can pull them up.
No.
And yes, are you disputing this?
Do we have that on the back to pull it up?
I can already tell you what you're talking about, the charging documents, because this is where we had to figure out where this story came from, because everyone was operating under the assumption that Matt Robinson turned him in. Until we got to the preliminary hearing and we understood, like I said, even for that, when you are charging someone, you can use hearsay. It's all probative, right?
Sure.
Nothing. So they didn't have statements. It's not like Matt Robinson, even though he was interviewed that night. Amber Robinson was interviewed that night by a Fed, separate rooms. Tyler Robinson was interviewed by a Fed. They did not produce statements saying, my son did this. I believe my son did this. But what happened was they did interviews, but also the crucial person here who you just brought up is Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell is the biggest unknown in this entire case. Everyone keeps saying they heard from Mike Mitchell this, they heard from Mike Mitchell that. So when the person wrote up the report that night, and it was Brian Davis who wrote up what became the charging document, he after they transported Tyler Robinson from the Washington Sheriff's County office up to, I think it's Salt Lake City. I think it was 4 a.m. in the morning that they got up there. He then writes the what becomes a charging document. So he's basically saying, we all spoke to a bunch of people and here's the information that we got, right? We've not seen that. So it could have come from Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell could be saying,
I don't know how this negates the point, though.
Why wouldn't the negates the point? Because you don't have a statement from the parents. You are going.
Why wouldn't they just correct the
it's not correcting.
misinformation?
That doesn't negate the point. The point is that we now got the preliminary hearing. if the parents were the ones who said, I'm turning my son in because he's guilty.
I didn't say they turned him in.
I think you're talking about the over. You said it's been the narrative. Everybody's known this. The narrative initially, which I think you agree with, was that, Matt Robinson knew his kid was guilty and turned him into the police station. What actually happened in terms of Sheriff Brooksby, who was present there and gave a press conference, what happened was this Mike Mitchell character essentially peer pressured him. And we can get a fact check on this. We can find Sheriff Brooksby's press conference. And he said, they know it's you and you're going to come in peaceably, or people are going to be banging down your door. He was a undercover cop, which I don't like that. I don't know what he did undercover. It's very hard to find anything about Mike Mitchell, but he worked with them for 20 plus years. The police officer.
Oh God, it's really hard to find stuff on an undercover.
And he was also his Boy Scout
How
leader.
How does this negate the parents could write this second? And by the way, if you had the evidence, I'm going to address
that point. I'm just saying that your first point, which is that the parents did this.
There are people.
We don't know that the parents.
I didn't say that they did ever. Never happened.
You're quoting the parents as having said.
Stupid.
You said that Matt Robinson said that his kid was. You say involved. I don't want to misquote you.
Confronted him about it.
Confronted him.
Yes.
And I'm telling you that we have not seen any evidence that is true.
We can fact check that.
Okay.
Because we do have evidence.
And I'm saying it's the charging doc, which could have been derived from a statement Mike Mitchell said.
Two things I have already in the back. One is the charging doc, and the other one is the video of Kathy Nestor saying she hasn't seen Tyler's phone.
Okay, we can run Kathy to go back, and then
first?
Just to go backwards to Kathy first in court saying she didn't get her client's phone. Yeah, and then I think we'll go to the. If you're okay with that,
thing not in dispute. These are all things that I'm not even disputing.
Okay, so we don't have to show it.
We never get to the thing that I am disputing.
Well, I was just providing an answer. We were coming back in from a break because you were talking about the text messages, something that you felt was concrete. So it was just my rebuttal to you that it's not concrete because they haven't had a chance to actually answer that. And she didn't even get to see your client's phone. So that's
included the text messages in their brief
saying these messages
they are
real.
Accepting them as
you don't
real.
Get the discovery on these messages just yet. She will during trial. They will actually get discovery on messages.
Don't you think that would make their case fall apart if it was the case that they weren't able to actually pull the data off the text messages? Do you think the prosecution would go to court with fabricated text messages?
It's called winners and losers. They may not be fabricated, but by the way, as what they are saying, like I said, if there was somebody logged into his phone, they may not be fabricated. That's the point.
So let's get to the
they just could be somebody else.
The parents fact check.
Why would
so I was saying I believe what you're talking about was derived from the charging doc, which was signed off by Brian Davis. Let's see if that's correct.
This place. Why would he not do that?
What are we looking at?
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so. I'm sorry.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Is this the charging doc?
I can't see it. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched the rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle, which makes sense with the text messages. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home.
Yes. So this is proving my point. This is from the charging document, correct? Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is that 3 people got interviewed on that night. Mike Mitchell
retarded.
Amber Robinson got interviewed and Matt Robinson got interviewed. Of the 3 of them, only one of them actually wrote a statement, which was referred to in this preliminary trial. He came in, I believe, in March, Mike Mitchell, and he wrote a statement, which I find to be very shady that they decided to bring.
But why aren't the parents disputing that?
No. Well, first off,
that's the question I've been asking.
The parents are not going to ever play in court, play to the cameras in court when they have a legal team that is going to be advising them not to speak to the court because your son could go to prison forever.
But they're playing to somebody else who's your source?
I'm not going to address
in the
charging document.
They're playing to someone else who's your source, but won't go publicly tell the media this is not true?
Well, what I did not say to you that I just said I have a source, so I want to be very clear and take it from somebody who is involved and permanently sued.
How much you want to bet the officer was wearing a body cam when he fucking interviewed the parents?
We're speaking about.
Yeah, but it's bizarre that they would utilize a source which would get the information to you, but wouldn't just go to the media and be like, actually, that's all wrong.
I am telling you that if you would nary find a lawyer who would advise you to go to the media.
This mother,
especially when your son is
up was
up for death.
If I thought that my kid was in any way, shape, or form going to be up, you couldn't shut me up. Or my wife, she would be like, that's not true. That's ridiculous. There's no possible. That never happened. These people are lying through their teeth. They'd be public whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's for you and your wife. But when a judge issues a gag order in a case and your son is up for death and your lawyers could be advising you that if you say anything, you could blow the case, you would have a more responsible consideration.
A gag order. The parents aren't under a gag, are they?
Violate it, and I violate the judge's orders and see what happens.
That's what I thought. Like, where is she talking about?
I'm not speaking to a source, but what I am saying to you is speaking just relevant to what this is. We have not seen any proof that statement that is included in this charging document. I think it is.
I mean, the parents may have been requested by the lawyer to not say anything.
That all came from Mike Mitchell.
But there's no gag order.
I'm looking it up.
He's
based
saying,
on the statements of
it's him saying the parents told me this. The parents could dispute that. That's going to come down the line, right? They're going to be able to seat the parents. I will say this.
Okay, no, there is
under context clues. If the state,
yeah, but who does it include? I don't think it includes the parents.
Lawyers and parties
that Matt
involved
Robinson
in the
and Amber Robinson
litigation.
said it. A 5-day preliminary hearing would be a good time to say we have enough evidence, and I can tell you why. Matt Robinson made this statement, and here is his statement that he signed. That would have been a good time to present that evidence.
That would also be a good time for the defense to say that's just totally fabricated.
No, it's not. It's the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
That is completely the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
Because what they're doing is they already said they didn't receive discovery. They literally can't. They literally can't because they can't. They did not receive discovery.
You're saying that they didn't receive that information?
No. They just received the text messages. But in order to...
That's not the text messages.
Parents are included in that game.
The probative information.
Yeah, we're talking about the information that we just reviewed. That's not the text message.
They never presented
the gag order does not include the parents. Yeah. That's what I thought.
So they're probably under recommendation from the lawyer to not say anything.
No, she said they were under a gag order.
Yeah. The defense is engaging with whatever evidence the state decides to put on. They did not put this on as evidence. Brian Davis was up there.
So they're not allowed to present anything?
They're responding to the state's evidence.
Asking, are they allowed?
Well, actually, I think she might have used a weasel word. I think she might have used a weasel word.
They present.
She said when there is a gag order.
I agree. I think that
she didn't claim that the parents were under a gag order. That's what she's going to come out and say.
My attorney. They said that's exactly, if you had actual evidence that there was fabrications by the feds, that's exactly when you would introduce that.
So when in the document that they filed yesterday or a couple of days ago, the appropriate, like what you're doing at this stage.
Oh, you mean where they confirmed everything?
We have enough evidence that we think this needs to go forth to trial. Hence the reason that there's this extraordinary, we allow hearsay because it doesn't really need to be perfect. It can be enough that we feel like we can move forward, right? And okay, I disagree with that in general when somebody's rotting in prison, but whatever. The next phase is for them to meet in court and for the defense to essentially present an argument to the state.
I was checking something else
that says,
did she just skip over
filing to be defective in and of itself? We don't even have to defend ourselves because the state have enough. You know what the laws are on the book.
Yeah,
and
she's
effective.
The next step is not in person on September 1st.
Based on what you can decide,
the state still has a second.
So that's why they then file the dismissal
by the 18th.
Right. So in the dismissal, what they're doing
is the rebuttal.
Defense
was widely misinterpreted.
Well, yeah, they're engaging
then they meet on the
1st
of September.
As it's a hypothetical. If this is hypothetically
August
true, then
18th
all of
when
these charges.
I'm not disputing any of that.
So
that's
what I am,
you're saying. Could they just
what I'm asking specifically is like, who could shut parents up who are like, no way. There's no possible. This never happened. This is ridiculous. They would be shouting it on CNN. They would be shouting it from the rooftops. They would be losing their minds. And you're like, nope, the gag order would be enough to keep them quiet. Not enough for them to talk to your source, but enough to keep them quiet. I think that's quite ridiculous. But I'll even concede this whole point to you.
Also, the gag order does not apply to the parents.
Right? There's a little bit of reason to doubt it because we're still waiting for the evidence for trial. If that's the case, then why not take the same standard for the evidence that you present? You're just waiting for trial.
Well, you didn't do that.
Wait a second. I just want to make sure that I got this right. That's your argument to me, right?
My argument to you is what?
My argument.
Your argument states that the publicity order does not regulate the behavior of any person who is not an attorney associated with
There's
the
not
case.
enough here. That convinces me. Right.
Well, that's actually my rebuttal.
It only requires the attorneys to
you are
inform certain
saying
witnesses
why
about
are people
the prohibitions to
engaging
deter
in what you
prejudicial
term to be
statements.
conspiracy theories?
No.
I term it to be thinking. They're just thinking because they're recognizing there are a lot of holes in these stories and that this is not strong evidence, right?
And the prosecutors have indicated that they intend to call Robinson's
this is the reason that they're doing it.
witnesses.
I'm addressing what you view to be overwhelming evidence. And by the way, I want to be clear.
Under a gag order.
That which convinces me.
They've been recommended to not.
Yeah, well, but thus far, every point that
you
you brought. Every point that you brought up, did you feel like this is beyond a reasonable doubt? I mean, you realize
remember what I said in my opening.
Going to be.
It's not beyond reasonable doubt. It's just what I find convincing is what I find overwhelming.
So why are you so upset when people say they don't find it convincing?
If that was the limitation of the claims that you made, if it was just, wait a second, there's a little bit of problems. There's some problems in this case that I have questions for that I want answers to. Nobody would have a problem, actually.
She's literally spent the last 11 months.
I would be the least likely person to have an issue with you, any of your fans, anybody saying.
Obsessed.
In fact, I've had tons of Discord calls about this. My position's always been clear. Of course, conspiracies exist. Some of them have way better evidence than others, but I've seen them myself. I know conspiracy. In fact, the federal government has hundreds of thousands of laws about conspiracies. They see them everywhere. We both know this, right? That's never what the problem is. The problem is when you make claims outside of, well, wait a second. I'm just questioning evidence here. I'm just questioning what the state's case is here. I'm just asking questions. It's when you make claims outside of that, where you claim that there's good evidence or good standards you should believe because, and then it turns out that it's all nonsense or it's wackadoo stuff or it makes no sense. And when we have a chance to cross-examine your evidence that you've presented, I'm going to show a lot of that. A lot of this conjecture that's based on literally nothing, that leads from no inferences whatsoever. Like you couldn't even infer it logically. That's the problem. The problem has never been whether or not you just said, there's not enough in this case so far until we get to the trial. I remain unconvinced. I'm sure there's tons of people who remain unconvinced yet until we get to the trial. I think that's fine. I think it's fine. There's people who are convinced too. That's never been my problem. My problem is the claims which are external to that.
Okay.
Jinx, you beating up your keyboard?
I'm not sure I really care if you have a problem with what I think in my own spare time. I don't understand this lecture that you just gave. But beyond that, what I'm saying is that the state
and my keyboard is essentially directly under my microphone.
This is what my problem is. You guys are not like, you guys think while it's still legal. You can. You are allowed to do that. So, but anyway, going back to you saying I wouldn't have a problem. I think I just demonstrated pretty thoroughly that what you claim that you have a problem with is exactly what the state is engaged in at this stage. So it just doesn't make sense.
That's not the case. In fact,
so if people look and they say, I'm looking at the gun and I see, and I'm inferring this, and someone else says, I'm looking at the gun evidence and I'm inferring that, they're both doing the exact same thing.
They're not.
You're just saying, I want to do it for the state.
That's propositionally false.
That is not propositionally false.
I'll explain exactly how. It is the case that every proposition is going to have a true or false conclusion, period. That's just logic, right? It's the law of excluded middle. All propositions are going to be true or they're going to be false. When we get into when we're making inferences based on propositions. We can actually come to true conclusions with false premises inside of a proposition. In fact, what we're talking about here is not whether or not you feel that you're convinced by this evidence.
But you felt like you were convinced.
Right? Sure. But here's the thing. When you ask me my reason, Andrew, why are you convinced by this? I can give you my reasons why I'm convinced by it, why it seems reasonable and rational to me to be convinced. You could even say, but Andrew, I'm just not convinced by it. If that was the limitation of your claims, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. That's why I wanted to have the conversation, in fact, was so that we could move into your actual claims that you've made, which transcend the idea of I'm just asking questions.
Before we get into that, your team has one thing they want to show before you go into that. So if you want to pull that up, this is the prosecution filing showing defense had full discovery by April 1st.
Oof.
They did not. That's not true.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
To date, the state's prosecutors have disclosed all evidence that is presently and reasonably available to them as required under Rule 16, Utah R Criminal, to be more precise, as of April 1st.
Yeah, that was not 100%. That's why they're caging that by saying what's reasonable. There was an entire, and we can pull this up, like we should now play the Kathy Nestor clip because that's from there. So, and they were basically saying you don't need it at this stage, meaning it's not reasonable that you're asking for this when we're going into a hearing that's just going to be based on hearsay and stuff, things of that nature. But of course, by the time a trial comes, you're going to get all the discovery.
Oh my God, the hearing is not based on hearsay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
I'm even fine with it.
I understand that there's a lot of stuff
that the hearing is over and
trial, it doesn't come into preliminary.
They now at
but
the,
there
at the
are
end of the preliminary
things
hearing
that the
dropped
defense could do
an insane
before it
amount
even
of the
gets to this
discovery stuff they gave to them like the week after.
to show
you guys
that
can
their
give me the
client
exact now. I don't want to say because I don't know my I don't remember how much it was. It was a certain
reasonable
amount of stuff that they gave to them right after the preliminary hearing that they had been asking for. Because that was one of the things that I kept saying on my show is as we were watching that preliminary of the preliminary, why not just give them the stuff now so they can engage in these arguments? Because I feel like you, it's like, I want to hear what they have to say about the text messages. Why can't you just give them what they're asking for so that they can
or if you use a debit card, it'd be a bank statement.
And it didn't happen.
Like, here, I used my card here.
The judge ruled
time,
that it wasn't necessary at this stage. And that was the whole point of that.
It's not that hard.
Because it's
preliminary to the preliminary. Yeah.
Would you like to play the Kathy video?
Well, he's saying he's not disagreeing, so I don't think we need
there's
to.
There's no disagreement that she said that.
Yeah.
So so I guess the disagreements now would move into the evidences that
she wants to jam her stuff down his throat so much,
which transcend
that she's completely
elements
ignoring
of reason.
Why are we having
a
I'm fine transcendental conversation now? Because I mean,
because
first,
they're all
because
related.
your entire thing was about looking at the evidence, which never made sense to me, again, because all of the evidence that you felt to be overwhelming was hearsay. That was bizarre to me.
You told me that I could take as much time as I wanted to question you on these things.
I'm just asking you just to lay the groundwork of what you're saying is problematic, that you decide that it trips into something else. And I do still want to hold you for going through, because we've discussed the gun, we've discussed your...
and you can hold me to those things, but I would like to get into the things that you said.
And we should discuss the screwdriver as well.
So, and I'll explain exactly what the groundwork is. When you make claims which pass the idea of I'm just asking questions because the state's evidence is not convincing, I think you have to answer for those claims because they are in regards to this case. You're saying, I have a claim. It is in regards to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which is what we're talking about. Not just the case of Charlie Kirk, his assassination. You should have to answer for the claims that you've made in regards to the assassination itself. You should. Yeah, agreed. So if that's the case, then I would like to finally dive into some of that evidence and dive into it.
Well, just to be clear, and I'm happy to have you talk about, like I said, publicly, you want to engage in some conspiracies, but I said I want to make sure that we get to the substance of our debate. The substance of our debate
is the major
is me demonstrating that all of the quote unquote evidence that you feel that you have, which demonstrates that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
You don't find convincing. I get it.
It's been invalidated by the testimony that we saw, and in your answer for when I
you haven't
explained
invalidated.
Prince was, I don't know. Okay, well, there lies my ability to process that.
It's just fine for you to not be convinced up to this point. All of your viewers, everybody watching, you're conceding. Nobody's giving a dispute that if all your claims ever were just up to now, the evidence that the state's given, I'm just kind of not convinced. That is not what's been happening. What's actually been happening is that you've made tons of claims in regards to this case and in regards to the Kirk assassination, which are far above and beyond, I just doubt, the state's theory.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, sure.
And those are the things that
I do doubt the state's theory. I also am welcome to say what I think. If you want to move into opinions, if you want to talk about Erica Kirk, if you want to talk about Turning Point USA.
I really hope he brings up the two medical examiner accounts.
I do not feel, because I've said what's important to me is that
the YouTube ones.
First of our action. I do not feel that you sufficiently have argued that the evidence is overwhelming.
Candace, question for you.
But I am sorry you feel that way.
Candace, one question. What evidence do you need to see for you to say Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
That's a great question. So I actually expected in this preliminary hearing, the inverse of what he was saying is true, right? So this is now the time the state is putting on their evidence. That's the purpose of this hearing, right? The state is using hearsay, but they're also putting on their evidence. So I was just expecting some sort of a slam dunk. Like, we got him on camera taking the shot. At least we have him clear on camera. You're telling me this guy drove 13 hours all around.
She does not understand the difference between a preliminary hearing and a trial.
It's going to be beyond a reasonable doubt. Before we even get to the trial, people are going to see and go, oh crap, like it was really.
It does not need to be beyond a reasonable doubt.
I was expecting to at least
in a preliminary hearing
evidence. That, because I had reported early on that
it's probable
the source
cause
was saying that Tyler did not step foot on campus that day. It is my perspective that he had something to do with something. I do believe he was disposing clothes at this stage, at this phase. I do believe he was disposing clothes. He was involved somehow. I find Lance to be more suspicious, if I'm being honest with you. And also, like I said, the use immunity that was given to Lance by the feds, the fact that the feds didn't ask him any questions, the fact that I spoke with Lance Twiggs' family, and they were like, it's very weird that the feds are not asking him more questions. He's exactly the person that I would imagine to be involved in some stuff. allegedly, I'll say allegedly. But when we got to the preliminary hearing, there was not a single piece of evidence that I felt was slam dunk. I was waiting for that, a photo. I mean, anything would have made me go, all right, I think this could be the guy. If they had handed over the discovery on the text messages, since that was their big ta-da, we've got the text messages, that would be the first thing that I would hand over. But actually, who was holding them up? Like I said, it wasn't the prosecution. They're right to say we were handing things over, and we heard the defense argue on behalf of the prosecution, saying it's not them and it's not the SBI, it's the FBI that's holding on to things. Is the FBI took everything. The FBI took the gun. The FBI took initially the screwdriver. And then when I heard testimony about the things that they found that were suspicious, example being the backpack, that's something that really bothers me, that they say they traced the shooter, they traced the route that he went on, and then there was an abandoned, we know it looks like he's wearing some sort of a backpack. We know that there was an abandoned backpack found at the bus stop in front of a library, and they felt that this should be taken into evidence. They took it. The FBI, this was the testimony of Amanda Baker, I believe her last name is, but you might want to fact check that because I think I'm blending last names. She was the forensics for the FBI. And then she says she gets a call on the 13th and they stop testing on this backpack because they find that the backpack actually belongs to somebody on Charlie's team. But if you know the map of the layout of the campus, you're going, well, what the hell are they doing all the way up? This is nowhere near anywhere. And by the way, that's not an acceptable answer for why you just gave it back. That's like, why would you give it back? You're acting like no one's ever been killed by somebody on their team before, right? So I found that to be very strange that it was on the exact route that the alleged gunman ran, and that they're
talking to the moderator
because we heard that this belonged to somebody on Charlie's team.
But she doesn't actually know.
So that to me is. This is why the investigation itself feels underwhelming. When you learn, and this is completely crazy to me, that some of the artifacts that Charlie was wearing were immediately returned to Erica. That's absurd. That is absurd. Everything should be in evidence. When you learn that the car that they carried Charlie in to go to the hospital, they had immediately towed, cleaned, and back up for resale, that's absurd. That should be sitting in evidence. And any police officer that you speak to will say, or a person that's been involved in a crime will say, I didn't get my stuff back for years. That had nothing to do with anything. It was just around. And they kept it into evidence until the trial was over and it has to be approved. I think somebody said by the attorney general has to sign off on giving you those objects back. And we were told this is all fine. And we see, this is just one example, Erica holding the crucifix. That should be in evidence. Irrespective of if you feel bad for her and think she should have it and it's sweet, that should be in evidence. Immediately paving over the crime scene. This is like the craziest thing ever. This is like defies common sense.
Okay, how many claims is she going to get out before
actually
going to respond?
I got the call. They said it was a paver emergency. I've never in my entire career heard of a paver emergency. They had already had someone come up and dig up the dirt. So by the time he got there on Sunday, the dirt had already been dug up for him to lay down pavers. That is what people are looking at and going, this is weird. There needs to be answers for why this was done. And he tells us the call came from the feds and the governor's office. UVU's washed their hands of it. And what he's saying sounds true because we heard during the testimony.
How many claims is she going to get?
Control of everything. Mm-hmm. The feds were in control of the courtyard. So in order for anybody to have paved anything, that was federal territory, so to speak. I'm maybe not using that in the best cop term, but the feds were in control of the courtyard. So
and then
these
they released
are things
the crime
that
scene.
I think should be answered for. Why are we doing things differently than you would in any other criminal scenario?
It's the same
keeping
thing.
the evidence until we know more.
Someone
until we're
is
confident,
murdered in a house.
The various decoys. I did it. It
the
just
crime
doesn't
scene is
look right.
released. That's when the cleanup crew
so
comes
go back
and
to
they
the question.
scrub
So
everything
what would
down.
You need to see for you to say
something. If they had, I was expecting here we have him. He took the shot. Here it is, and then I'd be like, great, a clear image of him on the staircase where I'm like, that's definitively Tyler Robinson, and he was on campus. We got nothing. We got literally
except
nothing.
for his defense confirming it.
Basically
Right?
no case.
What?
You basically no case on planet Earth. You get the
sure.
Oh, we got a picture.
Okay,
Here's him with the murder weapon.
Right.
Here's him taking the shot.
Most of this doesn't take place on a college campus that has surveillance everywhere.
Yeah,
one clear image of his.
But I don't understand when you're
his
asked
car plates.
If you're asked the question, what would it take to convince? It'd be the same question be asked to me, Andrew. What would it take to convince you that the oppositional is true, right? That he's a patsy or something like that. just good, clear, concise evidence that's been presented, right? And is being presented that I could go through and link all together to see if there's actually some clear picture of there being a patsy. That's what it would take for me.
Okay.
Just
I don't disagree with that. We haven't heard the defense
just
respond.
a good evidentiary standard. And then, of course, I would change my mind.
So just to qualify this. So there is a possibility in the next few months that you may come out and say, guys, it's done. Tyler killed him. Yeah. So you're saying yes to that.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for the audience here.
Without question.
For you, is there anything that you could see for you to say, yeah, this guy was a patsy.
Of course, I'm going to always follow evidence.
Perfect.
So my whole thing is just this. It's really
I don't think she's ever going to.
I don't mind
say
people
that Tyler
being truth seekers and justice searchers, and the
internet has
helped solve tons of crimes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right? However, there's also people who,
with people that believe her.
They not only don't solve crimes, but they just come up with conjecture and they what's called flooding the zone. You flood the zone with tons and tons of conspiracy-based ideas, and they go nowhere, right? And in fact, they actually take away from legitimate investigation. Now, I'm not even saying anybody here is purposely flooding the zone. That's not even the claim. All I'm saying is that the claims made absent, this is just me not being convinced by the state's evidence. Those become claims, and claims have to be defended. Just like mine have to be defended, yours have to be defended. And that's what we're going to get to now, yeah?
You want to get into it? Would you guys like to take an ad break?
We'll take an ad break.
Sure. And then we'll talk Erica Kirk and TPUSA.
Ad
break, yay.
That have been conjectured by Candace Owens in regards to this case in the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Folks, we'll take a 3.5 minute break and we'll be back soon.
We run another ad yet?
I have no idea.
Yeah, but we don't have any pre-recorded ones.
No, I'm not doing an actual read. Not happening.
Yeah. All right, so y'all don't get a read. Haha. Well, you
only had to deal with one.
Talk. Yeah.
Oh well, I have her muted though.
I know you can still watch her talk or something. Yeah. She's retarded.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish PBD would do a better job of like keeping the conversation on track, because he's just letting Candace just suck fucking like this monologue.
Filibuster. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, that's not a debate. That's a fucking conversation. That's not what we're having here. We're having a debate. Even monologuing is not a conversation, actually.
No, it's not. I mean, she hasn't provided a single shred of evidence. The closest she's gotten was like the receipt that she has seen, but doesn't have the unedited version on hand.
I think this first part was just addressing Andrew's prompt, right? And now we're going into hers. We didn't really address any of her claims yet.
Yeah, I'm hoping
that's coming next.
I'm hoping that Andrew's going to get to her claims because she needs.
Well, that's what's coming after this.
Hopefully. All right, I'm going to use this as my opportunity for a break. I'll be right back.
Yep. What's up, guys? Talk to me in the chat. Chat to me. How y'all feeling about it so far? Because I think she's just... I think it's going to get worse once they start going over her claims. She's going to start crashing out. Y'all are so talkative in the chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, Candace is doing well. She's doing decent because the moderator's not moderating. He's letting her monologue, which is what she's good at. But like she threw out like fucking 50 claims all at once and then expected Andrew to respond to them. Or didn't expect him to respond to him. She just wanted him to listen.
have returned.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to cook her myself on X. But yeah.
There is and I already updated my page, so it's not there anymore. Someone said like the current status of the debate, and it's just a screenshot of a pause point where you can tell that Candace is stressed out, and it just says shit right next to it. But I lost it. Almost every single poll on X that I've seen says that Andrew's winning handily.
Yeah.
And also,
you have to look up a candy culty to get any different.
Well, I've only seen one from a big account showing that Candace is winning. But even in PBD's stream, he put up one during the last break, and Andrew was winning that one handily. So yeah, she's not winning this. I found it. Yeah, it was Nacho that posted it.
Now, see, that's not something I would do. The Cinema Shogun, same guy that clipped our shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just literally clipped straight from PBD's podcast. But at least he left a watermark on the bottom left.
There we go.
Yep.
How the great debate is going so far. Extremely accurate.
You're right, bet.
Yep.
I'll still be on mic, but just bet.
Hopefully not while you're peeing. Don't forget to mute.
No, while I'm smoking.
Acceptable.
Got to get the nicotine. Oh, so while we're waiting, you know how I was going to McKinney to cover the Carmelo Anthony thing?
Yep.
Right. Well, I completely forgot that they had that Nolan Wells vigil on the 19th. So I was going to go to that. But I guess.
Yep, that's the hard part is you got to pick one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've already kind of half-ass committed to the Carmelo Anthony thing. I never publicly stated anything about the other one.
Yeah. It'll be good coverage, though.
It might be.
I mean, no matter what happens, it's going to be insane outside of the courthouse by the time the decision's made.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, I'll know when I get there, like that morning, and how many people are actually going to be there. So I'll know how crazy it's going to be. So, because like I said, I mean, I was at the last trial, so I know how many people were, normally there. It's normally around like 50-ish.
Yeah.
There in the morning, and then, but if it's like a just crazy amount of people, I'm gonna be like, shit. Yeah. Like I said, I'm there by myself, so it'll be fun.
Be safe.
I'm just gonna fucking say
YOLO.
YOLO, yeah, pretty much.
Wee ball.
Yep. Just gonna get it done, I guess. Get her done.
Ooh. Paramount Tactical. This is from Candace's podcast on September 17th, 2025. Candace confirmed the story of Tyler's parents identifying him and turning him in with her own reliable sources.
Oh, that ought to be fun. All she's going to say is she changed her mind when she got new evidence, though. I mean, it'd be a cool little gotcha, but it would be a moot point because she would just say, but I found new evidence and I changed my mind on that.
What if the audio should?
Well, I hate weasels.
Yup. All right.
I have a source.
Does that audio come through?
Yep.
Okay.
I have a source, and everything the source has told me that has happened and when we were lied to publicly has proven to be correct. So I am very inclined to believe this source on a couple of other things. And when I speak also to Lance's family, they are confirming what this source is telling me. So we're going to go through this. So they released the photo. And then we are told, as my source initially told me, that it was the mother who recognized Tyler and she phones him up. Tyler says, "Mom, I'm sick." She doesn't believe it. She loops in dad. I have a source, and everything the source has told me that has happened when we were lied to publicly.
Well, that's kind of like
correct. So I am very inclined to believe this source on a couple of other things. And when I speak also,
you're playing it again, by the way.
No, I'm not.
Confirming what this source is telling me. So we're going to go through this. So they released the photo, and then we are told, as my source initially.
Apparently, it just plays multiple times. Okay.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, it's just looping.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So her source confirmed
that the mom didn't believe and called the dad. That's all it did. That's all that she said there.
But the mother recognized Tyler and called dad. Confirms that that is actually what happened. Yeah. She's 0% chance it was Tyler.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know, man.
Oh.
But I could see. Let me give them a little bit of rope until we get into her actual claims. I could see the argument she's made so far out to Israel and Egypt. Well, she hasn't made the Egypt yet. Well, she has, but like not in the debate.
Yeah.
I could see like if the only place you were getting your information from was Candace, where you might believe it. Right? But or you might be like, questioning it. Because she's mostly stayed out of the crazy kooky conspiracy shit that we're about to get into, so yeah. Except for she was caught in the lie about the Netanyahu thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was definitely claimed before he denied it. So that was claimed before the fucking video was even really out that Israel did it. So oh man. By the way, if y'all didn't know, I'm going to cover the Carmelo Anthony trial. I guess we didn't really state that. I'm going to cover the Carmelo Anthony trial. The fucking recusal and retrial next week. It is
not an actual retrial, but the request for retrial.
Request for retrial. Retrial hearing is what they're calling it, but
there's no way he's getting.
No, I don't think either one of those are going to go through, but I am going to be there on the ground, and I'll bring the laptop, so I'll probably be able to come on Wednesday and talk about it. Yeah.
All right, we're back.
Your position on the overwhelming evidence.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. You take the lead. Go for it.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of questions for you, and I want to make it super painless, right? So no traps, no gotchas. I'm just going to ask them direct. And I think that as long as they're not loaded, if they're loaded, you should not respond yes or no. But as long as they're not loaded, if I just directly ask them, I'm hoping that you'll just give me a direct answer. So here's the questions that I have.
Wait, before we get into that, I would like to just reply to that. So just to be clear, we agreed to debate our claims, and then I agreed publicly that I have no issues having a conversation with you about other things that I've discussed that were outside of the court hearing and things like other evidence that's come across our lap and things that we've been speaking about. But I just do want to make it clear to viewers that for whatever reason, you think that you have a right to sort of depose me.
I'm not deposing you. I just want to ask you some questions.
You literally said that I want to be able to question you.
This is a meta conversation.
Right, but okay, so now we're transcending. Like, let's use a word that you're saying. But this is what you're doing, right? Okay. So this part to me feels like a bit of
am I allowed to ask the questions?
I've already said you can ask questions, but I made it very clear to you via email and with you in conversation that we should be speaking. This isn't like you get to sit. I want to ask you some questions. If you want to depose me, you should join Brigitte Macron's defense team. But you're like, I'm just going to ask questions. Can you answer it? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know what you're going to ask. And I'm going to answer as I see fit because I'm not.
I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
I get it.
Just so we're clear.
Usually in the debate, if something's not loaded, I'm just direct with the question.
Because you kept saying I'm Joe Rogan. They have no evidence. And now you're like, let's move away from the evidence. Just talk about transcendentals.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So direct question, super easy. Was Lance Twiggs DNA on the rifle as far as you know?
We can't say that for certainty.
As far as you know.
I already answered that in the first part. We can't say that for certainty. I told you the context of which they spoke about those things.
So no.
It was not on it.
We can't say that for certainty until we know what other the 5 sets of.
Oh my God, Rich. Yes or no?
We can't say that for certainty.
You can say no as far as I know for certain.
We can't say that for certainty.
You can say that for certainty.
if your energy here is going to be like you're my dad and you can tell me how to speak or what I'm supposed to say, you're just going to come up against the wall. I'm familiar with this debate strategy.
But I am just
yes or no. We're not debating anymore. We're having a conversation. So I already addressed that in the first half of this about why.
No, we're still definitely debating. This is still.
It's not a debate. This is you saying I want to probe things that sit outside of the evidence.
Fucking debate
I already addressed this. You asked me. You're not going to go like you're sitting and I'm on trial. I'm not on trial.
Okay, great.
Let's talk about the conversation as we've agreed to.
Let's talk about the Foreign Legion.
Sure.
Was the Foreign Legion, do you believe, trying to kill you?
Yes, that's why I reported it to the correct officials in government. That's what I was told, and I handed over that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office.
What's your best piece of evidence for that?
Well, it was
positive evidence.
It was told to me by somebody who is high up in the French government. I passed off that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office. I also passed it off to Trump's office, Donald Trump's office. And that's all I can tell you. I wouldn't be able to probe any evidence because I don't have the power to do that. I'm not the federal government. And I would also like to say that this becomes this other piece of what you do, which is when people say, I was told this, and this is the evidence that I have, and I'm willing to have that conversation and write the email to the correct government body that deals with this. Like, I can't hack into Emmanuel Macron's bank account and say whether or not the information.
I agree.
But then you go, well, where's your evidence? It's like, well, my evidence is that I reported it. I did the right thing that you're going to do. So if somebody calls and says, hey, Andrew, there's a viable death threat against you, and that person definitively has the rank to be able to tell you this, and you say, well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to report that to the feds. And then I go, what's your evidence? It's like, well, I got the information and I gave the information that I got from who I got it to the right body of people. And that's what I did.
Got it. I just want to make sure. So I'm not trying to trap you.
Well,
I just want to make sure I got it clear.
And that's why I say I want to know what you're doing now, because this has always been the thing. It's like, we actually can't win on the overwhelming claim. So we're just going to go and bring up everything that I think can try to embarrass her. I reported exactly as I received it. I'm not trying to embarrass
you. I just want to make sure that I get your positions clear.
I have not said, go ahead.
And now you have stated multiple times that you believe that Israel's involved in the death of Charlie Kirk.
Can you give me...
Yes, we can pull up the clip. I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
Can I finish the sentence?
Go ahead.
Can you give me the context for what are you talking about? Like when I say, generally speaking, why people think that Israel's involved? Okay. where's your question?
Yeah. Do you have any positive evidence whatsoever that Israel killed Charlie Kirk?
Well, I couldn't say Israel was on the ground and shot and killed Charlie Kirk. I would say that there are various things that we're trying to establish, one being a motive. And since I don't believe that Tyler Robinson and his transferee is a convincing motive because he was fired up about politics, which Lance testified that he never spoke about with him, nor do I believe that he was, so into LGBTQ issues, since Lance testified they never spoke about LGBTQ issues, that he stopped and ate at Chick-fil-A, which if you are into LGBTQ issues, wouldn't be your lunch before you go kill Charlie Kirk for LGBTQ issues, because,
Yeah, but do you have positive evidence?
I'm answering the question as I feel like I want to answer it. Like I said, you don't get to for an hour and a half.
Feels like it.
I think it's about positive evidence.
I'm telling
She has
you,
no positive evidence.
establishing a motive.
She's filibustering.
And again, I already explained this at the top of the show, but the reason why people find Israel to be an interesting question is because truthfully, Charlie's perspectives were changing on Israel.
Sure.
And he was starting to realize how much pressure was being put on not just our government to constantly fight their wars, but also being put on his organization personally. If people had come out and been honest about that, rather than rabid claiming he never flinched and everybody's lying and this is not true, you would probably have people that just go, that's life. People change their opinions.
I understand.
And then there was the rabid, not even that. It's like everything was about trying to convince the public how much he liked it.
So then other
Israel.
than intuition, how you feel about things, do you have any evidence Israel was involved in killing Charlie Kirk?
I have already said, and if you're watching my show and the context of what I said, this is the general sense of why people think Israel's involved. Nobody has made the claim that Israelis, there were also,
Ian Carroll made the claim.
Well, Joe Kent, who I think would have the right
Joe
to assert
Kent
it,
was forced to
noted that there
resign
were
from his
12 Israeli
job.
cell phones on the ground that day. I think most people would like to probe that. Now, it could be maybe they were students, and they were Israeli students in Utah that day. But we'd like to probe that narrative because what we've seen after coming from the Israeli government, the Israeli prime minister, kind of denying that he did it, which wasn't really necessary. He was quite busy.
It wasn't necessary.
Which no one wants to discuss in the Hamptons.
Already been accused
the week
of
prior,
it that morning.
Or not the week
Hang on,
prior.
let me bring it back up.
6 that took place. And again, the almost desperate lies about Charlie shifting opinion on Israel lead us to believe that there could be an Israeli angle in this. But we cannot say for certainty that Israel called the shots and this is how it happened. But it is definitively, I think, a thread that a lot of us would like to see.
There's no positive
with
evidence.
certainty.
Whatever you want to say, positive, negative, however you want to say it.
Pro-communicator,
guys.
Just have a conversation.
Material evidence and other evidence.
Well, that is on our show is what we said. This feels like a conspiracy building. There's no reason to lie about these things, and yet people are lying. BB ain't acting right. The Hamptons thing was weird, and the way they tried to shove the Israel narrative down our throat immediately. I mean, the day he died, posting a picture of him with an American and Israeli AI'd photo on the president's feed doesn't feel right. So,
do you have any evidence that Erica Kirk or TPUSA participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I've never said they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk. So how could I say that?
Yes, you did.
Bullshit.
Murder of Charlie Kirk.
Okay, so then you don't believe that they did.
I never have said that statement, so I'm not going to get you to ask me personal questions about things that I've never said on record.
Okay, sure.
Your team is sending messages in the back saying they have a video they want to play.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what the video is.
Good.
Maybe. Are we going to play it?
Yes, you said that there's a video you want to play that Candace said she has full confidence Israel was involved.
Yep.
Yeah. He said evidence that they killed him. I said this is why people think they're involvement.
So
if they have the clip, they can play the clip.
Yeah.
They're referring to a clip.
Yeah.
Via whom? My guess is Pierre. Erica. I think that there's a reason Pierre knew that Charlie was dead first. I think there's a reason he was a priority. How? Why? I think France and Israel are involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I'm going to put that out there with full confidence.
Okay.
I also
involvement.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you think you with full confidence, you think that
I think
that
Israel's
France
involved.
and Israel
Yeah, I mean, the person that gave me that thing that I reported said that French Foreign Legion were on the ground that day.
Mhm.
Again, this would be at a professional limitation for me to then go and probe that information that I handed over. I can't do that. I'm not
But
the
you don't
United
have
States
any
government.
positive evidence of that, right?
Liz, I don't. Can you just stop? It's actually just like annoying to hear you keep saying positive evidence. I've just asked me what I think, and I just tell you, yes, I think they are
that's
involved.
a claim.
No, not think.
Okay.
This is factual.
I have every right
think,
to ask you about your claim.
Yeah, but
and if there's
I
positive
said,
evidence
in
for
this
your
statement,
claim,
I literally just said I
her
think,
saying that she
and I am
never
allowed
said
to think.
that
yeah,
you
you're
keep
allowed
saying
to think,
you have
but you're making
positive
a
evidence.
claim.
I have
Get
tons
it
of positive
here.
evidence that I'm allowed to think. Yes.
I agree. You're allowed to think.
Okay. So,
Nobody's disputing whether
Well, maybe not.
but
you have
what's your issue then? What is your issue with the statement?
evidence.
I think that Israel is involved.
That's
I
not
do.
what. That's not.
I can
just
now
what
say
you
with full
said. You
confidence I believe
said
Charlie Kirk was betrayed by
did
the
say I
leadership
think.
of Turning
It's
Point
with
USA and so
full
the very people who
confidence.
eulogized him on stage.
You
That
would
I
think
mis-
that if you had full
Can you have confidence
confidence
to think when you think?
That's
but
just
if
one.
if I said, for instance, I think I'm going to be late to work, right, with full confidence, I would say my evidence for that is that I'm 20 minutes away and I need to be there in 5.
Andrew,
That's how you would know whether or not you had full
I'm just
confidence.
going to tell you something.
Hang on, let me finish.
Sure.
If it was the case that I said I have full confidence I'm going to be late to work, I would say my evidence that I'm going to be is that work is 20 minutes away, right, and I have to be there in 5. So I have full confidence. That's why I would think that. So I'm asking, if you think that Israel and France were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you say with full confidence, I'm just asking for the evidence, or at least walk me through the mindset of why it is that you could think that with
I actually
evidence.
don't have to walk you through why I think. I can give you something that I think.
Really?
I think with full confidence that you lost the substance of this debate, and now you're moving toward things that I have said that I think, which I can do. I'm
They're
allowed to
pertinent
think
to this debate.
It's not exactly pertinent to this
It's
debate.
100% pertinent.
It's not
How
pertinent.
is that not pertinent?
Made about assassination. That's the complete substance of the debate.
Actually, would you like to remind him of what our debate claims actually were?
And would you like to remind you said I could ask you about any of these things
I
to my heart's
feel
content?
free, but you do not get to structure how I'm allowed to reply or ask me why are you allowed to
I'm not structuring how you're
think.
allowed to reply. I'm just asking you direct questions.
I have full confidence that you do not feel that you represented your claim well. And so now what you came prepared to do is to present yourself like a professor of fallacies.
I just want to know.
And to say, you're not allowed to say that. You can't.
You can say whatever you want. Nobody's disputing that. I'm asking.
It seems like you are disputing
I'm asking
it.
specifically
I think that when this
why
is
you
all
think
said
that.
and done, I've already explained to you. I explained at the beginning of this
Mhm.
why I think Israel is ultimately going to be proven to have involvement in this.
Mhm.
I just explained to you in the middle, and now you're wanting me to structure the sentence or provide evidence. You don't have to. You're just allowed to think. And I've explained to you my thought process. I don't need to structure it in a sentence. If you feel like a professor today, you picked the wrong day.
Don't you think that like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people would want to know what Candace Owens' positive evidence for why it is that Israel and France were involved in the most traumatic public assassination of Gen Z's lifetime is?
That's why they watch my podcast.
So you're just going to drip to them? Like, here's why I think that?
Every time we come across any of these discussions, they're watching this in context and they know why I'm saying it. So, for example, when you're bringing up, Candace, where's your evidence for France doing this? I just told you someone who is high ranking in the French government, right?
Who's nameless?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
But conspiracy, though, if I then took it to the federal government, like you can't just go out there making a claim to the federal government. You get in trouble for making false statements and things of that nature. So, and then you go, well, I'm going to probe that. Well, how can you probe that?
Hold on. Has she ever provided the thank you for submitting your claim or any evidence that she actually submitted this to the federal government? Other than her saying it.
Not that I'm not trying to regulate anything. I'm asking very important questions.
You're sounding a bit like a professor trying to regulate and say, Candace,
you sound very defensive and like you just don't want to answer questions.
I did answer your question 3 times. I just didn't say it in the way that you wanted me to say it.
You just kind of obfuscate and you run away from it. But I would like for you to actually focus on it. Let's just go through
every clip that you guys have prepared because it's pretty. I think with full confidence, people will recognize the strategy.
Oh my God, she doesn't know what full confidence means. I'm convinced.
Sure. They can pull up whatever clips
whatever
it
is that you guys have prepared. So
but I would still, on this point, I just want to make sure that you have full confidence that France and Israel were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
I think
and you have
its own feelings.
Well, I already did tell you where it came from. Like I said, I can explain it to you. I can't understand
Did
it for you.
Did that same higher up tell you
if
that he was going to kill, or that France killed Charlie Kirk, or just that you were in danger?
They said that the French Foreign Legion was involved and on the ground that day. I've already said that. You just don't like hearing it.
No,
Candace, just out of curiosity,
Yes.
when you pass down that message to a Tulsi or Trump,
Tulsi's office, yes.
Tulsi's office, are you giving them who told you that, or you're just saying, here's what I heard from somebody?
I have this information.
Sure.
And of course, if they wanted to open a file on it, which I thought was quite mysterious, that Trump's office never got back to us. It was kind of weird about like, maybe they're not the correct office to. I did receive a response from Tulsi Gabbard's office, but I don't think there was ever any investigation into what I said.
So the call was
what was the response?
The email.
Yes.
Email was, I've been told
I have information. That the French Foreign Legion was on the ground during Charlie's assassination. And that.
Where's the proof of this?
Well, you didn't give specifics who it was from.
Not in the first email, because I figured they would like.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So if they do contact you,
100,
are you
yes.
comfortable giving 100% who it is?
I would absolutely give them as much information
can I
as
ask a
possible.
question? If whoever's
No,
the U.S.
she didn't answer that.
Yes, it's very strange to me.
You know, so if that's the case, now they may respond back and say, we did, you know, that's their position.
I did. That's why I did it in writing.
And so I'm glad that's the
Okay,
case.
Yes.
where is it in writing?
Right away in Trump's
Yeah.
office. Like Margot got right back to me. She said it was on his desk. So he has that. There's no.
And if you do say that and they
Mhm.
contact that individual, obviously you don't have to leak your sources here.
Mhm.
Is there enough credibility where that person would be willing to talk to them and explain to them exactly what their sources are?
Yes.
Okay. I mean,
It seems reasonable. And so why he's asking me to defend that is like.
I'm not. Never
I
did.
think those are two different things.
You
That's
know, I
not
pulled up that
totally different.
screenshot
Why are
about
they not reaching out to you?
her
I've asked that many
claiming that
times on my
TPUSA
podcast.
was involved.
What do you
I
think about that, Andrew?
I totally
Right.
forgot about
The fact that she
Fort
emailed,
Hoochie Coochie
she gave it,
Mhm.
and nobody reached out to want to contact
And
the
how
source.
Probably
she
didn't think it
claimed
was
that
actionable.
Brian
is my
Harpel,
guess.
Eric
But
Kirk-
even if they did think
Erica
it was
Kirk and,
actionable,
U.S. military helped
great,
plan Charlie
every
Kirk's
lead should be
assassination
followed
there.
up on within the confines of what's
Now she's
rational
getting
and
sued by
reasonable.
Brian
Is it
Harpel
fair
over
to
it.
say that this is maybe a different individual because this is a person that was involved with TPUSA
Well, we
and
don't-
had a relationship with
Wait,
Charlie?
who?
No, her relationship. Like
Yeah.
this isn't just anybody. So if an average person sends it, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know who the source is. We don't know any
Well,
of
then
this.
if you were in that department, wouldn't you want to, even you assign it to one of your
There's
guys
no
to
guarantee
say,
they didn't look into it. How do we know? We don't
How
know.
could they
No,
if
how
they didn't
could
come
they if
get
she didn't give it
the
to-
There's no
information?
guarantee that she even reported it.
Correct.
This is a separate, this has
Did
got
you send
nothing to
them
do
the
with the
guy's
debate.
name?
This is more on
Well, I sent the email, assuming that's you kept saying like you go and you make a report. You think they're going to come back to you and say, "Hey, what's more information? We're investigating this," and that didn't happen, and which is what I raised.
No,
I
I'm
found
asking,
that,
did you send them the
especially
source of
because
the
this was at a
claim?
time where they were saying that they wanted to explore every possible lead. I even texted Dan Bongino.
But did you?
So actually, it was three offices:
let me ask one
the
question. and then
executive
I'm gonna come to you.
office,
Yeah.
Dan Bongino, and
Where are these messages?
Gabbard's office.
Okay, so a follow-up to that is the following.
Mhm.
If they contact you to say, is that specifically to the French government or Israel's involvement in the killing of Charlie Kirk?
That wasn't about
Those
Israel.
are two separate things.
That wasn't about Israel. It was
Okay,
they were
got it.
saying the French foreign, that person as a part of it was saying that it was the French Foreign Legion that was on the ground that
So
day.
I'm surprised they haven't
think
called you.
then I find that to be very strange too.
I do as well.
Because who would want to make a report? Like, I mean, I've never
Well,
made a report with the federal
but when
Let me
you
government.
ask one
did-
question.
but
Let me
when you
just
did
ask one
send
question.
it-
Mhm.
Let me just ask one
Okay.
question, and I'm going to bring
Okay.
it to you.
Sure.
The question is in regards to, I've not seen that clip, so I'm seeing it now.
Mhm.
I'm full confidence. I believe that
Mhm.
Israel and French was involved. Is that also based on a source that somebody told you that Israel was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or is that a gut feeling?
So in terms of Israel, I mean, what I've said is what I publicly have said here. I do think that at the end of this, we are going to find that Israel was involved. I do. Now, in terms of any of the hard evidence that's been presented, I think this has been a huge problem that a lot of us have had is that
Mhm.
they won't even explore anything else that was going on in Charlie's life personally. So if we're not satisfied that Tyler Robinson did this in any way, then every alternative theory should be explored. Other evidence should be brought forward. We've done that in our capacity. Like when people keep saying she has no evidence, it's kind of crazy. I think we've broken
It was the Moon Men.
any news source in the world. I mean, down to pictures, details, police officers, what the dog's name was, because we're not the only people that believe there's a conspiracy here. the police officers that were involved, the many police sheriff's offices that were departments that were involved that day, all believe there was a conspiracy. Down to the U.S. Marshals believe there was a conspiracy. They were my sources at the U.S. Marshals were saying they were basically sent on a wild goose chase that day.
But do you see how you say my sources?
Am I not allowed to have sources?
Well,
like
the thing is funny.
So is CNN allowed to have sources?
Well, hang on. I have sources. If I said
CNN's not allowed to have sources.
In fact, my sources claim that her sources are lying. My sources claim that none of them believe that there's a conspiracy. My sources claim all of them really think that Tyler Robinson was a lone gunman. If I just said that as hypothetical, wouldn't you say, what?
Yeah, I think what probably adds weight is like then when I drop photos of the car that no one was supposed to see, people go, okay, her sources are legit. So, and then when what I say is then proven in court and nobody knew those things, people are recognizing that my sources are legit. When I say Charlie was scared in the last days, and then I dropped the text message, which you've just learned about a couple of weeks ago, of him saying he was leading the pro-Israel cause when everyone was lying about that.
Like,
and they say,
I think
Candace's sources are legit. So I think what's happened is I've actually up a rapport with my audience that it's not vibes and dreams. And that's why they keep watching my content, because like, for example, when I just the other day released the content of the shooter on the roof doing the lateral crawl, then they're going, I don't think these are just vibes. It seems like Candace's sources are legit. So I've proven myself in the market.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would legitimize your sources as being legitimate when it comes to the idea that, they all believe that there's a conspiracy going on, which is actually what your claim is now. How would that actually, hang on, I'm almost done.
How would that, talking to PVD,
how would that legitimize, well, it's not his debate. How would it legitimize these sources that even if it's the case that you get some court footage or some things like this, why would it legitimize that your sources are telling you all the marshals believe it's a conspiracy, all the police believe it's a conspiracy, everybody believes it? How would that legitimize any of that?
Well, what I am saying to you, and you are not forced to believe it. So let me just explain what I was answering here. And I think that you understood what I was saying, is I have, because people trust me, compiled a lot of information and presented it to the public. And this information has been proven true. We've presented photos, we have presented videos, never before seen stuff. The public has never seen it. And so what that does is your audience goes, okay, when she says that she has these sources, clearly she's telling the truth. Now, whether you would then go, well, I'm going to believe her when she says they think that there's a conspiracy, that's up to you. You cannot watch my content. I'm not here to tell you that you have to watch my content or believe everything I'm saying.
Well, don't you think questioners should get questioned as well?
By who? I'm not committing a crime, am I? By just saying what I think and collecting evidence.
Most of the people you ask questions are not actually committing crimes.
But what do you mean they should answer questions where? Like at a police station? Like,
no,
what are you
just
saying?
like if you want people to come in and answer questions for you.
I could use some masking too, Chris says.
Investigation. I have questions about this. I have questions about that. You want them to answer your questions. Doesn't it seem totally fair that you answer back the questions people have for you?
Well, they're not answering our questions. So it's also fair that they don't answer them.
So you're
that's why I said Andrew Colvett should be in this chair. He's not.
But isn't that a double standard?
No, it's not, because he's not doing it.
Yeah, but that would still be a double standard. If you're
requesting that she never said that TPUSA was involved, why does she need to debate Andrew Colvett?
They never weren't. So that seems to infer that you think that he owes you answers. If that's the case, then don't you owe answers?
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm answering your questions and his questions. I mean, I'm talking about.
He hasn't answered a single question.
He's a spokesperson for Turning Point USA.
Uh-huh.
So when the crowd turns against Turning Point USA on the basis of a lack of information, or because there has been, I don't know, seeds sown of distrust, I would imagine, and forget answering my questions because it doesn't need to be me.
But aren't you sowing a lot of those seeds of distrust?
Well, I think they're doing a pretty good job themselves, if I'm being honest. You can blame it on Candace all you want.
Well,
people love to do that.
The thing is funny is
people act like I'm ground zero.
I'll be fair with you.
I'm ground zero of people not trusting Turning Point USA.
I think that there was some PR there. I think there was some PR there. Sure, they could have done better. Absolutely. I'm not disputing any of that. One thing, though, that I want to just directly ask you is, do you actually believe that anybody in TPUSA or Erica Kirk or Erica actually participated, had foreknowledge of, or facilitated the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I'm not going to get myself into a legal pickle here. Everything I've said is on my podcast. I think firmly that
I don't see how that get her in a legal pickle either. Do you think is an opinion?
I would at this phase.
Correct.
I would.
Okay,
so
what does
using
that
a hypothetical,
Does that mean that you do think so?
I think it was not a sufficient investigation into what we know to be true of 80% of homicides. It's usually conducted by someone you know, right? And the fact that that was never even considered, like I said earlier, the backpack was returned.
How do you know that was never considered?
Because they gave back the backpack as just one example. Backpack.
So they finished investigating the backpack and then gave it back?
Well, I mean, it shows that the police trusted everybody and didn't just hold things up for a second.
They ruled them out as suspects.
That quickly. I'm not comfortable with that investigation. It's a pretty big organization. There's a $100 million incentive.
What $100 million incentive?
What I'm saying is his organization, like it had grown to, I think it was 100
plus per year.
Yeah, per year. If that's something you want to back
up, but what was
your team wants to play video? If you don't mind, there's a
there's 115 million. Last year?
It's impossible to not be Erica's complicit. If you guys want to play that video.
Could also just ask.
And so right now their guys are going out and they're going to look for evidence. And then by May, which is fortunately around the corner, then she'll see what they found. So what the F is that performance? How could you sit up there and say, I 100% believe Tyler Robinson did it. That right there is why it is impossible for me to think that Erica Kirk is not complicit somehow. Because what?
Those two thoughts actually don't even follow. How would it be the case that even if Erica Kirk did believe that Tyler Robinson was 100% responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk? Let's just say she believed it with every fiber of her being, believed all the evidence, because she did. She just actually did. Would it then follow that somehow she's complicit in his death?
I didn't say complicit in death. You added complicit.
Okay, so what's she complicit in?
Yes, so sowing this narrative that Tyler Robinson is guilty. So you're chopping up clips. Like I said, you didn't have the confidence to come in and debate.
Me, what does that
mean?
What does complicit mean?
We are showing a clip of her on Barry Weiss, which I can't remember the date that she did that interview.
The clip about her
and
about
Erica, when she is asked, "Are you do you feel with 100% certainty that Tyler Robinson did this?" And she says, "I do." Then again, context matters. I sit down with Erica for 4 hours under the assumption that she had some evidence, right? Like I'm like, this is why I did not engage in any like Erica, everyone's questioning what she's wearing and all this stuff. I was like, I'm going to wait here because
did she not engage in that?
Feels weird to think that. Did I think that some of her mannerisms were weird and stuff like that? Yeah, but that's not, you can't convict somebody on weird mannerisms. And then when I sat down with her and I was expecting for her to say, well, I'm obviously the victim on the case and we got to see the shot, taken or this or that, whatever it is. Great. That's why she has that much confidence 2 months ago. And when I sat down with her, it was nothing. Okay. So this is a conversation.
How would that make her complicit?
Complicit. And again, you said complicit in the death of Charlie Kirk.
Complicit in what? Yeah.
Well, if you let me finish my sentence, I could tell you that. But my point being is that then you take a look at this and you go, okay, well, this is weird. Why would you have this confidence? And then when you sit across from somebody and you say, okay, great, I want to go out there and defend you now. I want people to know that you can't say this stuff publicly, but you know more things. And she just blanks. And then she says, well, I'm going to call the lawyer. And she called the lawyer. Again, all of this is on my show. So out of context clips is not going to work because I know what I say on my show. Okay. So we call her lawyer and her lawyer says to us, she calls him on the phone, pardon me. And it's me, her, and Justin Strife. And I'm like, okay, great. What do you guys have? He goes, well, we don't have anything yet. We're not at that phase yet. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't have anything? And he says, well, don't you know how it works? It's a probable cause hearing. So basically the state says that they're going to bring this forward. And now our people go out and they look for the evidence to assert that Tyler Robinson is guilty. And so I asked her directly, her lawyer directly, the phone's in between us. I'm like, wait, so just so I'm clear, you haven't seen anything that the public hasn't seen? And he says, no. So I'm going back in my head and I'm going, okay, so why is Erica saying with such a degree of certainty, like she was sent out to convince the public and people bit, by the way. I remember even Megyn Kelly was like, let's wait. She's going to have access to things. I did think she had access to things that we didn't have. Why express that confidence to the public as opposed to just being like, we don't know yet. I feel confident he's involved. They made an arrest.
I don't understand. How would any of this make her complicit and in what?
Well, I've already told you. She's complicit in trying to fool the public into thinking this is some open and shut case.
How is she trying to fool the public into this, if she believes
Like,
it,
don't look
if she
anywhere
believes
else.
that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk, if she believes that, how would that be complicit in anything?
I do
Are you
believe-
saying that you think she doesn't believe it?
I don't believe that at that stage she sat down with Barry Weiss that's what she believes. No, but that's my opinion.
Right. But so when you just say complicit, just mean she believes that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk? That's it?
That's what we were talking about. That's why I said if your strategy was to dice up clips and take it out of context and make it
No
seem
strategy.
like I said
You
she
can
was
explain
complicit.
everything.
Yeah, but then why not just play the full thing? Like why?
Because we don't have like infinite amounts of time, I'm guessing. You probably don't want to watch.
Well, I'm going to go back to my theory that you didn't feel confident that you could defend your claim that it was overwhelming evidence. So now you're trying to move towards doctored clips and getting me to respond to it.
There's no doctored anything. I'm just making sure that we got this right.
Yes,
that what you're actually saying is that Erica is just complicit in believing it.
When I re-examined her actions backward, because I did not have this perspective of her at the beginning, which is why it's so funny to me that you guys make it seem like I'm ground zero. People thought Erica was sus from day I forgive him. And I was not a part of that. I did not lean into that. I did not contribute to that. I was getting actually terrible messages from my fans being like, Candace, you and Charlie always say to go with your intuition. You won't address this, how we all feel about her. Things changed for me when I saw that Zoom call. I will tell you that for sure. And the fact that she lied to me. So I sat across from her and, I wanted to have that conversation publicly, but they're probably grateful they didn't do it publicly. She told me some lies. And so the next thing that happens naturally when somebody lies to you, you go, when any person lies to you, whether it's a toddler.
What are these lies?
When they're trying to obscure something else.
Have you addressed what that lie was?
Yeah, I've talked about, we have a list of lies. We can find that,
I'm sure. In the
meeting
meeting with her.
Well, no, I didn't want her to cage up. I didn't want to do this. And because I didn't know what to expect. Like,
what does that have to do with that?
Like, I'm so overwhelmed with everything, and I don't know who to trust the organization. And I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I didn't want to.
Just out of curiosity, before.
Not necessarily true, Christos. I always look everywhere when I'm talking.
Erica.
Not very close.
So there's not a relationship.
No, I would say it's totally normal. Like, it's not like there was any issues at all. We were always nice to each other. It just is our life went to a different phase, right? So Charlie and I hitting the ground, running around, traveling 4 days a week. Now I get married. I find love of my life. I get married and I get pregnant. I haven't stopped being pregnant. And what you want out of life changes. You don't want to be running around for 4 days a week and traveling on a plane nonstop. You suddenly want to start building a home and live. I was desiring that suburban life.
I think he is.
You, George, her, and Charlie. Was there ever double dates between the four of you?
I was engaged to George quickly. We were planning our wedding. I was kind of in my bubble with George. George traveled with me and Charlie, but Erica and him were just starting to date at the beginning of 2019. George and I were planning our marriage. So George really got to know Charlie. I wouldn't say that I really got to know Erica. I was just rooting for them because I knew how much Charlie wanted to, find love. And so I was kind of his wing woman throughout that phase. And I was just happy. And I never was under the impression, obviously, that they were going to get married when they were dating. So it wasn't like I was conscious, I really need to get to know this person. And so it was just kind of normal that by that time, because of where I was in my life, that I wasn't spending any time getting to know Erica per se.
So the complicit part about Erica to you, is that a gut feeling? You think
it transformed when she lied?
You can take the lead. I'm just asking questions.
Yes.
I don't
Still a gut feeling.
I don't understand what you think she's complicit in.
Yeah. So when I say Erica's complicit, that's my opinion. When you tweeted Erica's too retarded to kill her husband, would you like to explain how you developed your evidence, your positive evidence for the fact that Erica was retarded?
Yeah, sure. So I just think all women are retarded.
Oh, so you're allowed to just say stuff. Who knew? And by the way, what dramatically transformed your opinion of Erica after going
I
to
concur.
the head? You were pretty hostile about. You don't think calling somebody too retarded?
No, come on. That's like normal tongue-in-cheek stuff for me online.
Oh, you're being tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, usually when I call someone retarded, I'm being tongue-in-cheek. Yeah. Like, for instance, you got supporters. I mean, if you want to use the same exact argument, you would take a supporter like Owen Benjamin. He called you bad names and called your husband bad names. You're just like, well, that's no biggie.
I've never answered him on anything that he said. I'm saying that you now are her biggest defender. So do you still think
I'm not her biggest defender?
Do you still think she's too retarded?
No. I didn't know Erica Kirk. I'd never met her before.
Okay, but you had an issue with Turning Point being led by a bunch of fembots talking about the feminist angle.
Still do.
And then suddenly you go to the headquarters.
Still think it's a terrible idea.
You go into the headquarters. Now all of a sudden you've got text messages you're sharing with them. You say that you and your wife are getting involved with management.
No. I'm not involved in any management at Turning Point USA.
Well, I'm pretty sure there is a clip of you where you say that your wife went to their recent conference and sat down. And then when you were on Joe Rogan.
No. Hang on. I'll explain what happened just so that you understand.
Yeah.
So I was invited there to do some debate training. That's literally what I was invited there to do on recommendation. So I went down and did some debate. That's the first time I ever met anybody at TPUSA.
Okay. And then you said you sat down with Erica.
Well, I didn't sit down to her. I talked to her in a hallway.
So you didn't sit down and speak with Erica?
No, I didn't have like some sit down long conversation. We talked in a hallway.
Okay. Is that when you gave her the hug?
Yeah. Gave her the hug right there. My wife did too. We were both very sorry for what happened.
Okay. So at what point did you start receiving text messages from that you cited in your opening statement?
I just reached out to TPUSA and said, I'm prepping for a debate. Is there anything that's pertinent that I can use here?
Do you find it interesting that people have been asking for, basic answers to questions, and you're saying that you walked into their headquarters and reached out and they instantly...
It's amazing, isn't it? If you reach out in good faith and you're not demonizing them and saying that they're complicit in the murder of people's deaths, that perhaps they're actually willing to release things to you that are pertinent, other than thinking that, perhaps you're diabolical.
Well, I don't know. I feel like
intentions.
if I was going to release that information, I didn't demand that it be released to me. I actually never demanded that it be released. I just simply said that this is what was going on in the last 48 hours. Maybe to the media, they could release it. They could release it to PBD. They decided to release it to a guy that called Erica too retarded in June.
So what?
Yeah, I just think it kind of shows that Turning Point is sending you as their horse.
Well, I don't know where
they don't have the courage to have the conversation. If they were just releasing something in good faith to answer questions.
Do you have any evidence of that claim?
It's not evidence. You're sharing your opinion that she's too retarded. I can't share my opinion that I think it's going to register as really obvious to the public that rather than presenting that throughout the course of everybody wanting to know what Charlie was going through his last days, they decided to give it to you to come to my house as some sort of a surprise. Well, do you think the public's not smart enough to see through that?
Do you think that if
talking about terrible PR,
if you know that there's a huge debate that's coming up that's going to be probably one of the most viewed that year, and one of the debaters calls you and says, I'm taking this position. This is the position that I feel like there's the most evidence for. And Candace also agreed to answer many of my questions in regards to this. So if you got pertinent evidence here that I can use, I'd definitely take a look. It was actually amazing to me. It really was actually amazing to me how if you approach people in good faith and just say, hey, I'd actually like to know what the facts and details are around this, they actually do talk to you. It's amazing.
Yeah, I just do not believe, that they are doing this in good faith. I don't believe that anything you have done has demonstrated that's in good faith. It demonstrates that you walked into Turning Point USA headquarters and came out a different man because you were critical of the organization. You were critical of Erica. And now you're sitting here going, Candace, I want to interrogate you for an hour and a half about everything you've ever said about Erica. Have you ever been
critical of somebody that you hadn't met and then you meet them and you're less critical of them?
And the inverse has happened too. I was less critical about Erica and now I'm more critical about her.
But I'm asking you, isn't it the case that there's people you've been critical of and then you've met them and you're less critical after you meet them?
Too retarded. I feel like if you think that she's dumb and let's just talk about your record. I mean, you're a person that spent time in what most people would term to be the manosphere, talking about I
debate against
against feminists
and red pillars, and a lot of the actual. So I'm a Christian ethicist,
and then you go on to Joe Rogan, and you're like soft explaining away why Erica had to take over Charlie's company when they don't have a parent at home. So now you're a feminist icon. Like you just go into the headquarters and you just shift all of your perspectives.
That's a bizarre criticism. Like nobody's in the bigger girl boss position than you.
I'm actually
You're in the biggest of the girl boss positions. Like you don't have to do this. Okay. You just do this. You could definitely not do it at all and be fine, right? But you still do.
I would say that you are making a comparison that cannot be fair because Erica's husband was just assassinated in front of the world.
Which makes sense why she would take the organization over.
No, it makes sense why you would go home to your kids, just so you know.
Wait a second. That's bizarre.
Yeah, because they don't have a parent. They don't have a parent, and they've just suffered a trauma. You don't go into the office.
You
want to
protect your husband's legacy, right?
No.
And you're trying to find some new
normal. The legacy
normal.
is his children, not the organization.
It's both.
No,
yes, it is both. It's totally rational and reasonable to believe that it would be both Turning Point USA. That is part of Charlie Kirk's legacy. He worked his whole life for it.
This is why people think she's sus.
And his children. Now, for you though to say that anybody's a girl boss. Right? That's like the pot calling the kettle black.
That came out of your mouth.
No, that was you. You brought up girl boss.
Girl boss came out of your mouth.
Yeah, I'm telling you that you brought up this idea that I'm defending some feminist nonsense. I'm not. I'm pointing out that they're by the way,
it's not qualified.
She brought up the idea of girl boss. He just called it girl boss. So.
Right. He put a name to it.
Exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing here is like, I'm still just as critical of feminism inside of TPUSA as I've always been. And I'm just as critical of any pro-Zionist position as I've ever been. None of that's ever changed. By the way, I would think it's the most rational, reasonable thing on planet Earth to do if you wanted to actually see an organization change, to try to work with leadership or reach out to leadership to try to do so. Doesn't that make the most amount of sense?
I would like to state for the record that I think Erica is underqualified to run the organization, and
she absolutely is.
On the
I don't think anyone's
more emotional aspects, I
think she would even say that, honestly.
Yeah,
it seems to be a majority
opinion.
It's
what Charlie wanted.
I'm not gonna say it's scientific, that any woman that would leave her kids and go right into the office after their husband was publicly assassinated does not have their priorities straight.
Okay.
Oh, really? So don't carry on your husband's legacy.
I'm not understanding still how that would make her complicit.
I don't have to keep answering the same question.
Okay,
so let's
feel like you got an answer to how it's complicit.
Your team is asking to play a clip. So if we want to play this clip to just finish this segment on the Erica Kirk topic, we can spend some time on that as well.
Okay.
So if you guys are ready in the back, we're ready.
And causing that 30-6 diameter, as would happen with a
30
as we get in the past. It accidentally, because of how Charlie was crouched, went up and hit his neck. And that ruined everything. That ruined everything. It was problematic. It's the reason why Terrell then had to scramble to get the cameras down, because they were never supposed to see it. They could have said reasonably that a 30-6 got eaten by Charlie, much more reasonably, obviously, than saying that the chicken bones in his neck stopped it because he ate
chicken
vegetables.
Bones. Your cervical spine is literally the densest bones in your body.
That's why Terrell's nervous on the phone with me. Again, this is my theory, and I am now very much sticking to it. Okay. They panicked. It's the reason Erica had to step out. That's why she would have gotten on the phone with Terrell so quickly, because I was going, why is Terrell saying, well, I didn't want Erica to relive. Oh, that's why I did it. He didn't have an answer. He was nervous. It was crazy. But he acknowledged it. He spoke to Erica immediately. Why did you speak to Erica immediately?
So do you believe that there was a shape charge that killed Charlie?
Hey, can I ask you why you keep starting clips mid-sentence?
Probably to get to where the clip is.
No, it doesn't seem that way, because you can always start a clip at the beginning of a sentence. Like you're just it's completely.
No, your sentences are long as fuck, bro.
I didn't spare the clips, but
yeah, I think
I didn't. But it's fine to ask it to back it up.
Like I said, the internet. I don't need to say what's happening here because the internet will clock it. But in this episode, we are now going, and that's why I said we're now going to look at some alternative theories. I made it very clear that this was a theory that I didn't want to look at. This is, I believe, because I don't have every episode on my head, but I'm pretty sure this is an episode where we presented the evidence that was in the car, the photos of what was in the car, right? And so we are now inferring off of what we see in the car that this very much does look like that we see a bunch of shattered Rode microphone, which was an early theory that I was actually interested in.
You don't
but
know
couldn't really
that
wrap
it's the
my
Rode
head
microphone.
around what was the shape chart explosive, as I say at the beginning of the episode. It was just not my expertise, and I was concerning myself with timelines and stories and statements that didn't make sense. Without question, Terrell Farnsworth is someone who made me think that we were missing a big part of the story. So I'm walking them through John Bray's theory. If we started to insert what we are actually observing with the evidence that we're taking a look at and what took place that day. So we're completely in the hypothetical right here. And you're now introducing this.
If that's the case, if you're just hypothetically exploring it, that's why I'm just asking directly.
Yes, but that's obvious when you watch this episode. So that's why it feels like I'm in the middle of an interview with CNN when they like pull up random clips and they're like, "What's this? What's this?" You watch the episode, you know what it is. I'm just trying to make sure.
Do you think that your alternative theory?
I think John Bray's theory should be explored. Yes.
Okay. Do you think that Charlie Kirk was killed with an explosive?
I think that is a possibility. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And it should be explored. He's done a lot of work on it. John Bray has done good work, and I think that that's why that theory is now starting to gain steam since we released the second set of the photos of what was in the car. I think it's viable.
So this was the big thing I wanted to get into with you on the explosives too. Mm-hmm. What is it about that theory that's actually compelling to you? So I looked into the explosive mic theory multiple times. And the biggest thing that stood out to me is there's no explosion. there's literally no explosion. In fact, there's videos when the shot rings out that kills Charlie. At least it sounds like a shot to me. People are actually like looking up towards where the gun is being fired. They're looking away for where the sound is. Like, where's the actual explosion?
Well, for every person that you say looks away, there's going to be a person that was looking forward. We have former Marines that have gotten on and said, it looks to me like there's an explosion under his shirt, right? You obviously saw Rob O'Neill go on to, I'm forgetting which platform it was, where he said, it's the first thing I thought was it looked
Rob
like
O'Neill is the man that killed Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, and I think he's qualified to say what he believes he saw. We should actually, since they're pulling clips, we should run that clip of Rob O'Neill and what he said and what he observed and his experience.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that. And also there were people who immediately spoke to the media that day who said the same thing, that they thought that something happened under his shirt. That was actually, if you go back to like my first episode when I was just observing what I saw with my eyes, I was asking the serious question. I was seriously saying, why is it like somebody shot him from underneath? Why is his shirt moving first? That doesn't make sense to me. And that's
because of air dispersal from the bullet.
Yep.
So whenever a bullet is shot, a projectile shot, you can actually run this experiment yourself if you have a rifle.
On Wednesday.
Take like an empty box of it and put it on the table.
Exact same way, probably.
Fire it near the muzzle, and that box will actually blow off the table.
Okay, so question for you: does that box go sideways off the table?
On Adderall.
It can.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It can.
Yeah, you can. It depends on the dispersal.
You 3,000 pounds of energy or 2,000 pounds of energy coming at you. That's how much
She's
it carries.
Got a lot of energy for a woman that's as pregnant as she is.
Well, we can fact check that. How many pounds of energy is it? A 30-06 being shot 150 yards away? That's a great question for Grok. I'm going to say when we looked at it, between 1,500 and 2,000. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, let's ask AI.
Just go up and to the side. I don't really buy that. I'm going to just say, I just think that that's not
but
possible. It doesn't go through on top of that. So there's another miracle. You didn't get blown backwards. It didn't go through. But I also want to say that you're saying this can happen, and Rob O'Neill is infinitely more qualified, I think, to speak on that.
Why?
And
why don't we look at all of the studies put out by the military over the years?
It's actually not true, though.
Videos of the people he shot to see.
It's actually not true, though.
Well, why are you able to assert your position as a fact?
Because I'm gonna tell you,
ballistics expert.
He's not even going to I guarantee you, this guy's not even going to disagree with what I'm about to say. If it is the case that you have energy and you have mass, and the mass is moving in the air has to go somewhere. It doesn't have a choice.
I think you're totally BSing right now, man.
What?
I'm telling you the truth. If a bullet is moving in air has to move out of way of bullet.
Yeah, it has to displace the air.
I mean, this is the woman that didn't know that thunder is the sound of lightning.
Some of you do these sorts of things where you assert
science
something with a lot of
not her
confidence,
strong
and
suit.
You can fact check it.
Fact
check if bullets displace air.
Not about whether it displaced air; it's where it dispersed the air. Underneath his shirt here.
It's not underneath his shirt.
This big, and you're telling me it's going to hit his neck,
Candace,
and then
it's not underneath his shirt.
It hits his neck
up here
and goes under his shirt.
And then you see the wave here as he's moving back.
She's talking about the shirt moving. No, she's talking about the shirt moving, which I explained on Wednesday.
So for TOS purposes,
exactly. I disagree with you. People can go watch their own minds. We don't need to debate it. Whether or not that was the first thing I said was, why is his shirt moving first? That didn't make sense to me.
You do need to debate it. It's a fucking debate.
Just like this, it goes across. His necklace breaks first before Charlie even reacts. If you watch it in slow, his necklace breaks first, which I thought was very odd. And then you see a puff here. And the next thing you know, there's the entry wound on his neck. I would not confidently assert that I see smoke. I've never said it on my
Do you
platform.
think that an explosion generally has smoke?
So it takes a second for the human body to bleed once it's been shot.
Get us to be able to
So the
answer
bullet was likely already in him
that he has from the front.
when the shirt moved and the necklace broke.
Assumed that it's a similar, if not the same type of explosive that was used inside the pagers that would have been used inside of this road mic.
I think that you should, since you love debating, you should debate someone like John Bray, who's worked on that theory for 11 months, and ask those sorts of questions of how a shaped charge would work. I presented the evidence of what was in the car, and I also, at that episode that you're clipping, said John Bray has done an unbelievable amount of work on this, and I think he has debated a ton of people, actually, regarding this topic. So that's the route that I would send you on. For the purposes of my show, I do believe, to answer your question, that it is a hypothetical. I mean, that it is a theory that should be thoroughly explored.
There's 2 clips your team wants to show. One of them is the Rob O'Neill clip, since we're on it. So if you guys are ready in the back before we go to ad break, if you want to pull it up, this is a good time to do so.
I still can't believe they're fucking running ad breaks. She's got over $250,000 to do this.
And good to see General
Why
Holmes.
is she running
a lot
ads?
of things bothers me about this. Nothing in particular. And it's not like I'm out there saying big lie or a conspiracy or someone did it. I'm just saying I've been in a lot of shootings. I've killed more than a handful of people, and this thing looked shady off the bat. I mean, I've killed people closer than I saw the camera, and I've never seen a shirt move like that. That looks like an explosion to me. Just the fact that no one started doing first aid to Charlie Kirk, they were more concerned about getting SIM cards out of cameras, removing cameras, and then getting him off the X somehow. There didn't seem a lot of concern for his life. It seemed like just clean it up. And then, I mean, I've been told they paved it over a couple days later. And then you get Erica Kirk behind all the razzle dazzle, and she's really quick to forgive the alleged shooter, which technically says that was him because I forgive him, but then she can't forgive Candace Owens for having an opinion or asking questions. And they mock people by saying, "Oh, I'm just asking questions." Yeah, I'm a SEAL Team 6 sniper. I'm asking a lot of questions. No one wants to answer them.
And you're able to ask.
He's actually said very little about the explosive there. So
I'm just saying he observed, he said he's shot people up close and he's never seen a shirt move like that. And it looked to him like an explosive. That's what he just said.
But when I play that video at full speed, I can't see a shirt moving. I can only see a shirt moving when we slow it way down. So if I'm in real time, I'm just assuming this, right? If I was in real time and I was in like a close quarters combat, you kill somebody situation, and I shot them, would you even see the shirt move?
Well, I just feel like 5 minutes ago you were arguing that it was because
you would see the shirt move, but you wouldn't give a fuck
at all.
Yeah, but that's if you slow it down, the disbursement of air, that's where you're going to see it, right? It's going to be very quick, very, 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 very fast.
Yeah.
That's not what I saw, and clearly it's not what he saw, and he thinks that there could be an explosive. So I'm just saying to you, when people disagree with you, your opinion's not a fact. That's all.
I understand.
I think that's a good place for us to, if we have another break, and then we can keep answering your questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think, sounds good.
Perfect. We'll do a quick 3.5 minute ad break. We'll be back for the last segment.
Cool.
All right, thank you.
All right, you guys.
We're not listening to her ads.
Yep. And the nice thing is we're not watching actually on her channel. So she's not getting any money from us anyway.
Yep. She has literally dodged every fucking question so far.
Yep. Oh yeah, and PBD is doing a terrible job as moderator.
As a moderator. Yeah, he's horrible.
He's letting her just ramble on, go off topic.
Yeah.
Asking her off topic questions.
I'm getting more nicotine because the more I listen to Candace, the more I feel enraged because she's just so stupid, and I hate stupid people. There's a reason I wore the shirt that I'm wearing today. It says sarcasm. It says sarcasm, the body's natural defense against stupidity. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. Ugh. So there's really nothing even for us to fact check this time around because she literally would not state anything as fact.
Nope. Oh, that actually is something that I wanted to go up on the Babylon
Completely
B.
avoiding everything. It is crazy. It is insane, dude. Fucking insane.
So Babylon B put out a post, says, with a screenshot from the quote-unquote debate. Candace, if you don't count the video, DNA, murder weapon, ballistics, motive, text messages, and multiple confessions, there is zero evidence against Tyler.
Yeah, pretty much.
Accurate.
Yep.
And
she said, "Oh, it's all hearsay." I really wish Andrew would push back more on that. It's literally not all hearsay.
No, it's not. I mean, his confessions are not hearsay.
No, they brought up evidence. Yeah, they brought up like, oh my God. They brought up that rule a bunch of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that was the defense trying to say it was hearsay, and most of that shit they lost.
Correct. I mean, I don't think they got anything that they tried to. Their objections.
Yeah, well, I mean, even though that's admissible hearsay, but they're like, oh, it falls under 1102, and then the judge is like, no, it doesn't. Shut up. Like, I mean, not obviously not in those words, but
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because the state would then come back and be like, this does not fall under 1102 in the first place. It falls under 80 whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That was like the whole argument of the preliminary, which we did live stream the whole fucking preliminary. So
we did every single day, start to finish.
Mm-hmm. Insane.
Yeah, and I had put out a post that said, Candace doesn't understand the difference between a preliminary hearing and a trial. The preliminary hearing is for probable cause to go to trial. The trial is when beyond a reasonable doubt comes into play. Guy responded and says, go ahead.
Technically, you're wrong on that. Preliminary hearing is for probable cause to do the indictment.
Right. I'm saying that, but
I know you skipped a step.
Right, but you don't need reasonable doubt.
No,
you don't.
No, you don't. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
So the guy responds. This guy responds. Says LMFAO is the exact opposite. What? Andrew has no idea. You people lie through your teeth like we're not watching the same thing. But I understand you're following as retarded. So you got to do what you got to do. And I said no. A preliminary hearing is literally for probable cause. Not all evidence has to be presented. Just enough for probable cause.
Yeah.
He said like yes, and she understands that it's all hearsay. Unlike Andrew, who didn't even watch it, he doesn't understand.
It's literally not all hearsay. And I guarantee Andrew watched it.
He streamed it.
Yeah. Oh.
She said that reasonable doubt was part of the preliminary.
Yeah. She's also retarded. So. Now, granted, there were a lot of claims that I heard Candace said that has actually been, didn't actually say. So there is some misinformation on that end to give, a slightly unbiased, I still think she's retarded, but slightly unbiased opinion on this.
Yeah. I like how she claimed the clips are being taken out of context or start mid-sentence. Andrew said he would be happy to rewind the clips if she wants, but she spoke over him and moved on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. That was funny. They should have just done it. PVD should have stopped it right there. Okay, let's rewind the clips. If that's your argument, rewind the clips. But he should have done. But he's not a good moderator. He's actually a horrible moderator.
Absolutely terrible.
A Malinois is chewing a broom. Fun. And not the broom part of the broom. The stick part of the broom, which is actually metal. Yeah.
She's just a little derpy.
Mm-hmm.
This is... Honestly, this debate is going exactly the way I thought it was going to.
Yeah, she's not going to answer anything. Nobody's going to gain anything from this.
She's not going to answer. She's going to obfuscate.
Yeah.
Her cultists are going to claim that she won and Andrew doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see any minds being changed unless like we can actually get some concrete other than I feel on anything. Because that's all she's saying is I feel.
Intuition and her gut feelings. And
I go off of gut feelings. I do. Like with that mayor that we just exposed. I had a gut feeling about that mayor. I didn't have anything. Yeah. I didn't have anything on her. I just had a gut feeling about her. And then guess what? I didn't put out that I had a gut feeling about her. I literally told Jinx, hey, I have a gut feeling about her. We need to look into her. And then we looked into her and then found out she's actually most likely not actually living in the city that she is the mayor of, which is
she doesn't live in the same fucking state.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you said that you thought that she lived in Memphis, Tennessee.
Well, that's because somebody had said that.
Yeah, but have you actually looked where the city she
it's right beside Memphis. Basically.
Yeah, it's essentially a suburb of Memphis, just over the border.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Oh man. Yeah. I wonder how much longer this is going to take.
Oh, we're 3 hours in.
Yep.
Yes, Christos. Andrew Wilson did pay Candace to do this debate. She originally countered for $500,000 instead of $300,000.
Yeah, because she's retarded.
And she also claimed to have no idea who he was after he went on Rogan.
Yeah, there's the shirt.
Brian Atlas, who hosts the Whatever podcast, he had actually directly reached out to Candace, and Candace's team responded declining. So she knew exactly who he was. She's just full of shit. Because then she also, like a couple days ago, was trying to rag on Andrew and like, he's been begging for this debate for months. Well, I thought you didn't know who he was. Like, I'm not sure she knows how to tell the truth.
Yeah.
I'm not sure she's capable.
Yeah. Oh man. These are longer than 3.5 minutes, by the way.
Yes, they are. Scrolling the X feed to see if there's anything of interest worth.
Oh my God. This one where I'd put out the fact check about the Netanyahu thing, somebody responded, you apparently forgot BB Fox News interview. That's not where that's not where he denied it.
He didn't acknowledge it at all.
And then why did Dan Flood call Ben on the way to the hospital? Why would anybody call after, somebody just got shot. Oh, to warn other people? Maybe? Just maybe.
Possibly. I mean, the guy's still on the loose.
Yeah.
Or could be. At that point, the guy is still on the loose. Could be working in tandem with others.
Yep.
I do still wonder if Tyler's connected to one of the LGBTQ alphabet soup, like murder cults, like 764 or something like that.
We're back.
Andrew, if you want to go with your last couple thoughts.
Yeah, so I just have two more clips to play.
Okay.
Right, and then we can do final thoughts. I'm guessing. I feel like
Candace
we got
is
where we were trying to go,
so it's
or at least for the most
go
part.
longer than it should.
So the two other clips, I do want to play the Twigs clip. That one is important to me. The Twigs DNA clip.
Yeah. Chris
They're
said
pull it up
when Andrew's trying to make a point.
have you respond.
Well, you don't have to play it,
and
because
that's where
if you're
PBD
saying that when I initially watched it, I
play,
thought that Lance Twigs' DNA, like he was directly responding to that, because the testimony was a bit confusing. They started by saying that they were going to like explaining how they got the samples, and they said Lance, Matt, and Lance, Matt, and Amber Robinson, how they got their DNA samples, and then they started speaking about the gun and said, multiple were found on them, and then they moved and they said Lance Twigs' DNA was found on the screwdriver. When I went back and rewatched it, I realized, well, they haven't officially said that Lance or Amber are on the gun, so I think I've already conceded that we don't know that. So I think, but if you want to play the clip,
this is directly you saying it is on the gun. Twigs' DNA
I'm saying
is
that
on
I
the
feel
gun.
like I've already said to you, like I've made that concession. But just to be clear, whenever I make
a concession at all,
she never did
3 times. I've already said we don't know yet, and I've corrected that mistake. So if the purpose of you showing this is to demonstrate that Candace makes mistakes sometimes when she's taking in a lot of information and she's reading through legal documents and she's trying to remember 9-hour testimony.
It's just demonstrate something else. It is, in fact, the case. We're all going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm going to make mistakes.
And I've already
You're going to make mistakes in the case.
Yeah.
But in this case, you were very adamant that his DNA was on the gun itself.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that it's not ruled out. We know there's prints.
No, that's not what you said.
Had to rewatch the testimony again. It's like 9 hours a day. It got very scientific when they were speaking about this. And I think I wrongly extrapolated that they meant all 3 of them were on the prints when the only person they officially named was Matt Robinson.
Fingerprints.
So yet if Twigs has his DNA on the prints, DNA on the gun officially just yet.
Okay.
I've already conceded that.
Sure.
So
that's fine. And then the last one is one with Erica Kirk.
Sure. This is like the Erica Kirk.
It's because you've been accusing Erica Kirk of killing her husband for months.
We can do it this way.
This goes back to a previous claim that you made.
Yeah, sure.
I'm bringing it up.
Straight to jail. For questioning at least Erica.
I don't care who's mad. I really do not care who wants to be upset after this episode. Really, you will be wasting your breath. You can spend $1 billion on influencers because this is all becoming increasingly inexplicable. You are asking me to be an idiot, actually, and I cannot do that for you. Someone once commented beneath this show that if the situations were reversed and there were this many verifiable lies.
So straight to jail?
Yeah, so that's the show intro. And straight to jail is a monopoly term.
Okay. So do not pass go.
Yeah.
Do not collect $200.
Yes, it's obviously tongue in cheek. And then we explain that actually I think that she should be brought in for questioning because of inconsistencies. So this is the exact episode when I started to think that she should be sat down and questioned. And I still believe that. I still hold the perspective.
I don't know what inconsistencies.
Sat down and she should be properly questioned.
Do you know that she hasn't been?
No, actually, that would be a great thing for the spokesperson of Turning Point USA to say that she's already sat through.
Why do they?
I mean, my guess would be she hasn't because they returned everything to her.
Yeah.
But
why do they?
She was calling Andrew the spokesperson, by the way.
That's my show you're watching. Just the clips that you're pulling are from my show. So if I want to say something on my show, I can say that. I didn't say they owe me something. I don't think that's ever unless you have another clip. But
if you say like you need to be sat down for questioning and you don't even know if they haven't been. That's strange, right?
Do you know if they have
been?
That
is true. Yeah, she can be tongue in cheek, but Andrew can't. Yeah.
I mean, what if they haven't been?
Yeah, if your entire
just kind of filling the air
if your entire thing is
junk.
No, it's not junk. If the query is why is it that Erica Kirk's not being sat down for questioning? but you have absolutely no knowledge whether or not she's been sat down for questioning or not. What that does is it creates an innuendo. It creates an inference. It creates out to the ethos that this should be happening because something's wrong here, when you actually don't have the knowledge that anything's wrong at all.
I
Or
just
that it
think
hasn't happened.
that she should be sat down and questioned.
Maybe she has.
Yeah, and you're not sure if she has been either. So, like I said, I feel like now you're just kind of filling the air
to
with
my
nonsense.
knowledge,
Because Turning Point's like, we want
to my
make
knowledge,
sure that you go in there and
nobody-
you defend Erica. And I have to say, I don't think you've done an extraordinary job
Great,
at that.
but I'm not here to defend Erica. The thing is, though, is like
that since 4 out of 5 of the clips that you
Yeah.
had on the ready when we asked you guys ahead of time. I mean, I want to
That's
just
because the majority of
assert
your
how
claims
professionally
have
we have dealt
been
with this debate.
that
As you can
Erica
see,
is in some
we
way
have not
involved.
planned any gotcha clips for Andrew. I expressed to him that what we were going to do was just to use people for fact checks, and because I might not remember something, or I do remember something and you're saying no, and that is what I think will register to people as very
wait,
fair.
I expressly
We did not take out of
what?
context clips of Andrew
But
to
I
try to repair.
expressly said
Please
that
don't
I
cut
was
me
going to
off.
bring claims.
We did not.
Right?
No, when you said you were going to bring claims that
Your
you would want me to
claims.
speak to, you didn't say I intend on sitting you down with out of contexted clips to which we said to you before in an email. Any clips that you want to share with us, send it over. Let's assert a debate claim so that we can both be ready to respond to it. This just
That's not really what happened.
Well, what didn't happen?
The way that you're framing the exchange,
What
that's
do you
not
mean?
that's not actually what happened. We were negotiating. It is true we negotiated out the claim itself, right? Which one's going to take which position. I wanted to make sure that I had at least an hour and a half on mine, and you got the time for yours to question me. We did. We got through your hour and a half on mine, roughly an hour and a half now on mine. That's basically how this went.
But in the beginning, I did not take an hour and a half to just pull out of context clips with Andrew. I actually debated the substance of what's going on in this trial and this hearing. And I do think that you fell short of that.
There's nothing out of,
wouldn't even
hang on.
answer
There's
I
nothing
did not
here
say,
except
I'm
holding you
just
to
gonna
account
get
for
you
your
to say
claims.
yes or no. Well, hold on. We were supposed to be debating the case
This
and
is
whether
part of
or
the
not
case.
there was overwhelming evidence.
She wants Andrew.
And admitted that now you're getting into another sphere and you want to talk about the transcendentals and things that I've
And
said.
we got through.
And like 4 out of 5 of your clips are about Erica Kirk. So the general
I
perception
don't think 4 out of 5 even
is
were.
your Turning Point's horse.
Oh,
I
so you
think
just-
quite
just-
a few
you
of
just-
them were.
you
Were
just-
there 3
just made it
Ericas
up?
or 4?
So you're just making stuff
Can
up?
we get a count of how many were about Erica? I feel
I
like
think it was 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah,
3. I
3.
said 4.
But those are extraordinary
sorry.
claims, which is why you're asked about
Okay.
them,
Well,
right?
okay. But the point being is now you're veering into trying to get me to defend my opinions, and then you completely shirk responsibility
Your
when I
claims.
point out yours. No, they're not claims. When
No,
you
they're
tweet
claims.
Erica is too
They're
retarded, you
absolutely claims.
never, and then you move
That's
on.
a claim that I'm responsible for the claim.
Well, earlier when I brought it up, you said that it was tongue in cheek.
Yes.
And that is his.
Sure. That's me responding
Oh,
to
my
your
Lord.
criticism
Okay.
of the
This
claim.
woman.
That's all I'm doing
I
here.
was interested, and
And I'm happy to get into also the Patsy stuff now, if you would like to.
well,
Your
that
team
was
has one more
supposed to
clip
be
they want
the
to play
whole
The one
from
more.
7 days
Okay,
ago.
sorry.
They got one
They
more
had
clip.
to.
and
We
then
were
can go
getting
to
into the
Patsy.
Patsy stuff, and you stopped it, and I was explaining to you. Oh, they have one more
Oh,
clip.
shut up, Candace. One more clip.
They want to hear the
Holy
minimum
shit.
You were saying with Erica. So
100%.
This is absurd.
okay.
He's before Hoochie Coochie.
And this is the one you're saying from 7 days ago.
Okay, and we're going to get it. Maybe.
Any moment now.
Okay. While they're looking for that, do you want to continue?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
can I
yeah.
ask a question? I know it's been, or like, can I ask a question? Or are we
Not
just
really. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
We're going to hold to the actual contract itself.
The contract does not say that you are allowed to just question me without me being able to respond to you
I've never said you
or
can't
have
respond.
a conversation.
You've been able to respond to every question I've asked you. And by the way,
Yeah.
the other thing is like
Let's have it your way. I want it to look like
Still happy
we've
to have
done
the
everything
debate.
Andrew wanted to, so that people can fairly assess the
He's paying you,
situation.
you
So
dumb
you have it
bitch.
your way. I
Totally
will not
fine.
ask a question.
Totally fair with me.
So are you good with her asking a question or
He
no?
said no.
Waiting for the clip.
Okay. So you want to wait for the clip first. Okay. You guys have it in the back? Okay, beautiful.
Come on. You can do it.
You can do it.
You
Your
need the
team
Jeopardy.
told me they had it. So
That's what I heard. Okay, there we
come
go.
on, guys.
Did this crime. Okay? Because Lance
I
Twiggs
can't hear this. My
has
thing
his
went out. Just tell
DNA
me what
on
it
the
says after.
towel.
It's fine.
Lance Twiggs has his DNA on the rifle.
Lance Twiggs
And to
has
be
his
clear,
DNA on the
Lance
rifle.
Twiggs'
Said this
DNA
4 times,
was
but I don't
not
know why they
as
feel like they need
degraded
to-
as Tyler Robinson's DNA was on Tyler's rifle. It's Tyler's rifle.
No, you
but
also
Lance's
said, yeah, it's
DNA
not as degraded on the rifle.
Yeah, because I thought he was one of the things, but I've
Right.
already that's what I mean when I say that. Like, it just seems like you're not actually here trying to engage,
But you
because I
actually,
got
you
to this
know,
night had some secret
have
clip
full confidence.
said to you. When I rewatched the testimony, I realized that they didn't explicitly say Lance Twiggs. They said 5 other profiles were on it, and that his was the most degraded. So I hope
Not
your
on the
team
rifle.
in playing that. Is there any more? I'm happy to play every
Not on the
clip.
rifle, on the towel.
Anybody?
Yeah, it's a towel and the
You
screwdriver.
said you had some new evidence at the beginning of the.
And there was
Oh, yeah.
only,
That you read,
Did you
just
wanna
because
share
I
that?
think that's
it
important
was
for
not
the
5 others.
out of context.
Not
I'll do
either.
it. I'll share the text.
So you're
No,
going to
the-
read
the
it on my
towel and
show, but
the-
not show it.
Towel and
Correct.
screwdriver were just those two.
So I'll show it on my show.
I know.
But
There was
that's-
not 5 others.
I'll show it on my
Can I
show.
ask why?
Well, because I want to drip out the evidence. You know, it's got to drip out that evidence. Keep people coming back for the show, right?
I don't know if snark serves you so well.
I'm just saying,
Uh,
yeah, I'll release it there. Yeah, that's my intention. But yeah, I'm fine with closings if you want to do closings.
Well, I also would just, if I may
I thought
ask,
we were doing the Patsy thing.
permitted,
Go ahead.
just so I also have clarity, since
we were too.
your basis has been evidentiary, you keep saying that you have evidence, or like you are following evidence. Which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Murder.
I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah.
with.
Can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But
Can
I
you-
want to
can you
make sure
name
that we
one?
have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not
Is
following
that
the
it?
case.
That's the
Yeah.
question. You're
Yeah,
just not
but I mean,
following it
it
enough.
seems pretty, like, if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty,
Well, can she say one of the charges?
one
Then let's do the
charge that
counter.
he's
You can really, hang on. This is a great gotcha.
no. You just got to ask me, play
Yeah.
clips out of context,
Yeah,
put
yeah.
me in the hot seat. So please just answer the
This
question.
is fair.
Can
Name
you
all
name-
7
can
since
you-
you've been following the case.
Okay, sure.
Go ahead.
You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
Oh
He
my
doesn't
God.
even- This is like,
Name all 7.
and I
Can you
I think
name
I-
all
She's
7?
she's
I
she's
can't.
going
Then do
she's
it.
going to nitpick on
sure,
capital
you
murder.
don't have to
Do
put
it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
you don't
Do
have to
it.
put your fingers up. I
Okay,
can do
hang on.
that.
Name them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. She
That's
can't
what-
name them.
Murder, because that's what carries
Okay.
a death sentence.
So
in the
murder.
state of
That would
no,
be murder.
literally not murder.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
it
People-
is.
no, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of
Oh
why
my
that really matters and
gosh.
shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder, it's narrowly defined,
Just
and because
avoiding
it
the
carries
question.
a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay.
You're
I'm
just going to
waiting.
recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work, and you'll be better the next time you debate
I got
someone.
it. I got it. Give me the other ones.
Yeah. The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference? That
No, I
people
just
don't walk
want you
away.
to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You just got to.
It sounds like you're just delaying it because you don't know them.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm
tell
going to
me
say
them.
again because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example
She doesn't
of
know them.
debate strategy. I
Okay,
actually
well,
am
I
under
got
no
one.
time constraint.
I got one.
Great.
She literally doesn't know them.
Is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And the
And what's
final,
the specific charges, though?
that is them. Obstruction of justice,
Both of
obstruction
those-
of justice, witness tampering.
Okay. And there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being
No,
charged
no,
with
no.
it.
Just the charges and then 7.
Yeah. See, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay. Got it. So then he's being charged with murder. You just say aggravated murder. That's the distinction. You just want to
It's a massive. It's
Got
like
it.
you cannot
Massive.
say murder versus aggravated
massive
murder.
distinction.
This gets to the entire crux of why him being up for the death sentence. And I actually find the defense's filing about why this is not aggravated to be very compelling of why it's aggravated murder. I actually think that if the state was going to even try to pull this off, they should have charged him with just murder. And then I do also, again, want to stress to audiences that debate strategy of thinking that you have to speak faster, or somebody puts your hand up and they try to pretend like it's some sport. I think he thinks it's a blood sport. It's not. It's about being right and being principled when you're engaging. And you can make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but at least be genuine in pretending that you care about this case enough to know one of the 7 charges that are up against Tyler Robinson when you say the evidence is overwhelming that he's guilty. If you would like to move to final statements, I'm fine. I want to make sure Andrew has had the time that he has requested.
I think you're
Patsy.
7 charges that he just asked you about. If you guys want to pull that up just to confirm the 7 you went through. Can you guys zoom in a little bit? For
aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness, and count 7
violent.
I said offense in the presence of a minor.
Front of a child.
Yeah. So 5, 6, tampering witness, 3rd degree felony. Now I did notice something. I just was curious about. If I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to do it because you're just going to get double embarrassed. Where's my phone?
You want to see it?
I'm just curious. Yeah.
You can literally do that. Here you go. PBD, you're the moderator.
Okay.
Take it.
Let's see
if anyone was texted at all during this debate.
All right.
About the violent charges or anything.
Oh, so she was texting people during the debate.
Permission to go through my phone. I don't need to cheat.
So the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's a compliment.
He's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission.
Yes.
I'm just going to read 3 of them to 1132 because after that, I don't need to read it.
And you know their texts. Could have been Telegram. Could have been something.
All
like
I have is Signal. You can check that too.
All she has is Signal. Yeah, right.
And that was it. I downloaded.
I'll take it.
I don't need to I deeply care about this case. I don't need to pretend
I get it.
to know
If you
stuff
deeply
that I
care
don't
about
know.
the case, I just, I have my other question is about the steakhouse receipt.
You just said that you were done asking all your questions.
So nothing there.
Do you have the steakhouse receipts? My question.
I have said several times that I have never said I have the receipt for the steakhouse. I have said the person who's working on that story is going to be forthcoming with the receipt. And that was what I was responding to. And he then dropped the receipt. He redacted elements of it. And I said, stay tuned. He's the one working on that story.
Okay. So you haven't actually confirmed that Robinson was at that steakhouse.
All I did, as I said earlier in this conversation, was I spoke to the owner when I broke that story. I think it was back in January. I spoke to the owner, understood what had happened, and that there was a receipt.
I think that was Baron
That's
Coleman.
it. That's the extent of what I shared is what happened.
Okay. So to be clear, there's no receipt.
I just said the opposite. I said there is a receipt.
Well, you don't have a copy of the receipt.
The receipt was published online.
Yeah, right. With blurred out.
The person working on this story that blurred that out is what I was referring to when I said stay tuned and keep following his stuff.
She doesn't actually have a copy of the receipt.
What I hadn't done, which was he interviewed the actual server.
So there's no evidence
and
that
she
Tyler
says
was
she's
at that
seen the
steakhouse.
unredacted one.
I would say the receipt with his debit card number, it would be some hard evidence if that
I agree with that.
Yeah,
but,
so that's it.
But
you're
the part of the
questioning
receipt
me.
that's shown and blurred out wouldn't have a credit card
He paid,
number on
if you're
it.
asking me, did he pay
And
with
they
the
never
card or
showed the
debit
full
card? The
credit
answer
card
is
number.
yes.
No. Is there proof that was actually his debit card that he paid with?
I think you should follow the person that is behind that story.
Well, the reason I'm asking you is because you always include it in your timeline that he traveled to the steakhouse.
Yeah, we've been building a timeline with things that we feel are
But is there any actual
Utah 1102
evidence?
approved. I think speaking to the owner, knowing that there's a receipt, seeing the receipt
owner has
is
said
good enough
that
to put
he
on
wasn't
our
there.
timeline.
But the receipt itself, the question I always had about it is, couldn't you just call the merchant? Like if I've ever had a merchant account, I just call the merchant account processor and say, what's the name on this?
Yeah, I would stay tuned. I feel that having spoken to the owner, that the evidence is compelling enough to put onto my personal timeline of what took place on that day. That's where it's going to stay. And if it gets debunked, I'm happy to take it off. If that's what you mean, that's how an investigation works.
You don't even need a subpoena.
Like I said,
Tyler just has to log into his banking information and supply the statement.
Pass the test by the Utah 1102 rule for sure, for certain.
To be submitted as hearsay.
Beyond that, because they didn't even have receipts. They were like, Bob told me this.
But the question is, the receipt itself it has not been verified to have been Tyler
Yeah, I
Robinson's.
just want to say you're holding me to a higher standard than you are.
I'm not even holding it. I'm just
prosecution.
asking specifically.
Yeah, I've been very forthcoming. I've told exactly what happened. I spoke to the owner. I got the tip, and
so should that be added in an official timeline that you give?
It's in my timeline. It's my show, and we can add and subtract what we want, and we do.
You can do what you want, sure, but I'm asking,
subtract
should
what we
you
want in
include
this
a thing
timeline
that you know hasn't actually been verified to be Tyler Robinson?
Yes, you should. If we're trying to build a timeline, you should. Yeah.
You don't think that falls under...
And then you should remove it if someone somehow debunks it. But I think that there is very strong evidence that is where he was, and that
What's the strong evidence? Just the two people who said that they saw him?
You know, I'm actually all good with the... I feel like I sufficiently answered your question about how I got the information, what happened next. Would the next stage of this investigation being somebody accessing knowing what his debit card was and confirming it? Yes. And I do believe that will happen. If it does not happen and it gets debunked, I'll remove it from my personal timeline that I share on my show.
That officer, the first officer that was up on the roof, do you remember his name?
Officer Bagley.
Yeah. What was his first name?
Christopher.
When Christopher got up on the roof, you talk a lot about how his camera died.
Well, he talked a lot about that during the preliminary hearing.
Died.
Yeah.
Do you think that he planted that screwdriver up there?
No.
No. Who do you think planted it?
If we're just going on am I allowed to have an opinion?
Of course.
At this stage, I would say that I don't buy his assertion on the stand that he didn't check to see if anybody went onto the rooftop before he got up there. I do think that it's possible. It's at least plausible that the screwdriver was planted. I don't believe him. What I can say strongly is that his cam died at just the right time. His body cam died at just the right time. I think that, as you were just grilling me about whether or not I had got the merchant receipt for a debit card, that kind of makes it difficult that we just have to sort of trust that a screwdriver was found and we don't have any should be evidence of a police body cam. But like I said, you accept that stuff.
Oh no!
And then
what did we ever do before police body cams when they found evidence?
Well, I'm not adding.
Like I said, you hold the prosecution to a higher standard than you do to people.
I'm not adding unconfirmed evidence to an official timeline that I'm putting out either.
What do you mean an official timeline? This is my timeline. I made it at home.
So then it would be official to your show.
Convenient.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, great. So then your official timeline, Candace Owens' official timeline, includes a steakhouse stop that has not actually been confirmed at all.
Well, yeah, it hasn't even been discussed by the prosecution, so it's not like you're debunking
because it's not their evidence.
Well, there's no evidence for it. There's no good evidence for it at all. There's no camera there, and the steakhouse receipt itself has never been confirmed to be Tyler Robinson's.
I'm assuming this is just like a talking point.
Where did they get the receipt?
I've been following it very closely on X.
The receipt, you weren't even following the charges of Tyler Robinson, but you really wanted to know. I've been following it very closely on X.
Wait,
I'm calling owners of steakhouses and having a conversation. You're following Congo on X.
I literally followed the entire trial or the preliminary live. I was live with an attorney. We covered all of it. You think because I have a momentary lapse where I'm like, oh, it's murder? No, it's aggravated murder. Come on.
You didn't know any of the charges.
Splitting hairs.
No, that's not splitting. It means you didn't follow the preliminary hearing at all.
No, it doesn't mean that at all.
You don't know any of the charges
ridiculous.
that are against him when this is like getting literally to the crux, aggravated murder versus murder. It's
ridiculous.
A death sentence.
And not only that, let's point this out. One of the major things here is that this is your official timeline.
It's mine.
Yes. Who else could it be? Who else? It would be Candace Owens' timeline.
I just don't know what his issue is with my timeline.
What's your issue with that?
Well, so the issue is that the entirety of the evidence revolves around two people who claim that he was there and supposedly a receipt. There's supposedly a receipt where Tyler Robinson paid for his steak and his soft drink. No alcohol, right? No alcohol, right? You know nothing about the case. But anyway, this particular receipt, they could have called the merchant account, confirmed it, this type of thing. To date, this receipt has only the blurred information on it that would actually give you the information to confirm whose receipt it is. We have to date, nobody has confirmed that this was actually Tyler Robinson's receipt. And yet inside of Candace Owens' timeline, which she states over and over again, when she says, this is the longest 13 hours, this is 13 and a half hours, the requirement for about roughly 5.5 or 6 hours of that is that he went to the steakhouse. And that's not been confirmed at all. Not even a little bit.
I feel like saying that I spoke to the owner of the steakhouse is me, like, not just being on X looking at opinions, but actually doing the legwork. And that's why like I said, if you think this builds up a rapport with your audience and makes you seem like a serious person, we don't have to keep belaboring the point here. I feel like I've demonstrated that I did as much as I could to confirm this when it came in. I spoke to the owner of the restaurant. Obviously took down
what?
Noted that there was, in fact, a receipt that he pulled. That receipt that was published is real. A debit card and a credit card was used.
I feel like she didn't actually talk to
for
the
some
A debit
reason,
card and a credit card was used?
something down the line, or we find out it's a different.
I don't
Tyler
think she
Robinson.
talked to the actual owner because
I'm happy
she
to
just did
remove
it
my
over the
timeline.
phone.
But for right now, I think
there was someone
that
that
there's
actually
enough
went there
under the
and
Utah
physically
1102
spoke
rule
to
for
the
me to
owner,
keep
and
it there.
that
I don't
owner
really think
said
we need to keep going into
Tyler
circles
Robinson
about this
was
receipt.
not there.
It's my timeline.
I don't know why the 1102 rule would apply here for your
Because
timeline.
you were constantly cite things that are said in that courtroom that have less evidentiary support than me contacting and speaking with the owner of the restaurant. It's not like I dreamed it, as to use your expression. So it's in my timeline, and I'm going to keep it there.
It seems like
just saying that there's
she
no
did
evidence.
dream it.
Okay, thank you.
No hard
That's what it
evidence
feels like to
anyway.
me.
Yeah, I'm fine with closing.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to do before we go into ad break, right after this, will be final thoughts.
Oh my
I'll be
God.
asking you if anything on your opinion, thoughts changed on the case, and then we'll finish it up from there. So with that being said, a 3.5 minute break, and then we'll come back for final thoughts.
Wow, we're doing okay. All right. Well, that was waste of fucking time.
Well, I'm hoping that Andrew's closing is going to have something.
Because Candace isn't going to let him close. She's going to talk over. Guaranteed.
Probably. So she let him do his opening. But now the actual
She did.
quote unquote debate has happened.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't have a closing guaranteed. She's like, I'm not going to bore these people with a closing, just like she did with the opening. And then she fucking goes on to talk for 30 minutes.
Yeah. She calls his opening a preamble and then proceeds to says she's not going to do it and then does one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stand her voice, dude.
I just can't stand her.
Yeah. It's because she talks with so much false confidence. It's false confidence, and you can tell it's false confidence.
Oh yeah, you can tell by her, her body movements or facial expressions.
Yeah, facial expressions
Or
definitely
rambling.
give it away. Yeah, it's fucking false confidence. She's playing a part. She's not actually. Yeah, you can tell when people are actually passionate about something, and she's not.
No, it's because she's got the false passion because it's getting her that dough.
Yep.
All about the money for her, which is really sad. Husband's rich as shit. Understand why she has to do all this.
You see that fucking ring on her finger? That shit's ridiculous. If you've been paying attention, I saw it. The motherfucker was like blinding me.
Big. Said.
Huh?
Hard to note. It's hard to not notice when it's that big.
Yeah.
Jeez.
What she said, yeah. Oh man.
Let's see if there's.
I'm getting more nicotine in because we've been sitting here for 3 hours now.
Way too long?
Well, 3.5 hours by now, right?
What
time it is.
3 hours and 27 minutes.
Look at that. Fucking spot on guess, basically.
It's been like 30 minutes since the last break. Goodness gracious.
Candace really thinks she won this debate.
Oh, absolutely. By not answering anything.
Yeah, I guess she thinks debate is like dodge questions, dodge questions, dodge questions. That's not a debate.
And the fact that it's her timeline is her timeline doesn't have to be truthful because it's hers. So
Yeah.
she just basically admitted that she can put out all the bullshit she wants because it's hers.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it's all bullshit.
Yep. Fake as fuck. I can put out whatever I want. That's basically what she said. Oh man. So let's see. Sorry, I'm still I'm a little bit preoccupied in my brain because I'm still trying to think through all the logistics. Trial next week. Yeah, y'all better come back and watch shit on the trial. Like I said, I'll probably be back. I'll probably be on the Wednesday stream on my laptop.
Yeah, everything should be done for the day by then.
Might not be, but I would hope so. Last time it really wasn't. I might not actually be on the stream, but I should be able to definitely be on my phone.
Yeah.
Depending on if I'm, back by the end. But I should be able to be on my phone for sure.
That's good.
And we'll probably do another impromptu one Thursday. Cover what happened Thursday. Yeah. No, maybe so.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh, you mean our update on the...
Yeah, on the trial. Like do an update Wednesday, do an update Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the only 2 days that are actually scheduled.
Yeah, so unless they go for another day, which I guess they could.
No, they technically can't because they scheduled. Well, I mean, at least the recusal can't go more than a day. I guess the retrial West can. Technically.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But luckily, I am scheduling my lodging for. I don't leave until the next day, so if they do decide to do court the next day, I can actually go.
Oh, we're back quick.
At the end, for those of you that are watching it, maybe a good commentary for you would be the following on if you're a Andrew fan and you are still saying, you know what, Andrew's arguments were solid, great. Candace, great. But did anything change your mind? Did you watch and say, you know what, I had this position over here. This would be an interesting commentary to hear. And of course, for all the people that are watching, I was just whispering to them here before we wrap it up. I think whether you're a fan of Andrew or not, whether you're a fan of Candace or not, nobody can dispute the fact that these guys agreed to sit down and talk live.
For
Others were
$300,000.
thinking this was pre-recorded. This is not pre-recorded, just everybody knows.
$300,000.
This is purely live. This is a little bit scarier than pre-recorded because pre-recorded you can do edits. So whether you agree with them or not, let's make sure we respect both of them for having this sit down. And before the final thoughts, I want to make sure you guys hear that from me as well, for inviting me here as well.
Of course.
I do know one day, I think it was last week, you sent a message on one of our accounts. You said, can I talk to Patrick? We got on the call. You said, Patrick, can you moderate this? And then I said, great, let's do this. And so before we wrap up, final thoughts, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, she had nothing. Just nothing. For all of her claims of Patsy, nothing. She didn't have a single claim. She didn't have a single solid piece of evidence. She had no positive evidence Israel's involved in anything. No positive evidence that France is involved in anything. No positive evidence TPUSA is involved in anything. No positive evidence that Erica Kirk is involved in anything. When I ask her about her claims about Erica Kirk, it's just funning. It's just funning. Or I do think that she needs to sit down and ask some questions, or answer some questions. But you know what? I don't even know if she has. Maybe she has. I have no idea. Yes, I'm going to have an official timeline with unconfirmed evidence. That's just fine. hey, it's hearsay. If that's good enough for the state, it's good enough for me. But my biggest problem with the state is that they're admitting all this hearsay. It's like she's a contradiction machine. On top of all of this, the thing that I wanted to get out of this more than anything else was to just demonstrate one thing. Yes, it's true. I'm not perfect on the case. I'm not going to ever pretend that I am, and never did. But what has been made very clear to me is that there's nobody with an alternative theory that has any evidence for it at all. None. Zero. And the continuous kind of expression, we're running an investigation. What kind of investigation builds a timeline out on a receipt that they don't even confirm? What kind of investigation tries to make these bold claims that Israel's involved and France is involved and all these different players are involved and never shows any evidence? We're just asking questions. It's again, like I said in my opening, it's always intuition, my feelings, how I feel about things, how I think about things. Andrew, how many times do you hear this today? Andrew, you can't tell me how I'm supposed to think. Yeah, nobody's trying to tell you how to think. But you should rationally come to your conclusions based on evidence and facts. And the truth is that 90% of what you're saying is simply intuition based. It came to me in a dream. It's intuition. Almost none of it has any evidence at all. Just, I'm skeptical because these people over here said things, and that makes me skeptical. It's like, but no evidence. Note this to the audience, to everybody watching. You might hate my guts. That's fair enough. I get that. I'm not the most likable man. I understand that too. But there was nothing. I mean, no evidence at all that Tyler Robinson was a patsy that was ever put forward by Candace this entire debate. Now, maybe you could say that we stalemated when it came to whether or not Robinson did it. She says, I found the evidence convincing. Unconvincing. Andrew says he found the evidence convincing. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you can't do too much about that, but there was nothing. She had nothing for Robinson being a patsy.
She did
nothing for any of her conspiracies. Not a zero, zilch. And she backed away on a bunch of them. This is the first time I think she's ever really backed away from the Twigs thing. First time I've heard her back away from the Erica thing, back away from TPUSA, being very cautious about making any of those claims now. Whereas on her show, much more likely to be making those claims. So she just had nothing the entire debate. Zero.
Candace.
Yep.
Well, I think that is quite a conclusion. Admitting somewhere, maybe we stalemated, it probably signifies what I've been saying from the beginning, that you didn't feel that you were strong on the actual facts and the evidence, which I was willing to engage with you. I wanted to go over the screwdriver. I wanted to go over the towel, the things that you've mentioned, and you wanted to then move the conversation into a defense of Erica Kirk and her character, and what I've said about Erica, which is my opinion. And I have not edited that opinion after discussing with you.
When you say that she was at Fort
would like to
Hoochie
extend a
Coochie
compliment to
conspiring
you
with U.S.
for being
military
willing
to
to sit down
assassinate
and
Charlie.
to have the conversation. I still walk away feeling
I refuse to
that
call it by its name.
the
It's gonna always
people
be
who
Fort
are
Hoochie Coochie.
jumping on the bandwagon about this case don't care about this case. They don't care about Erica Kirk. It tends to be follow that they take a meeting with Turning Point USA and they come out and suddenly have a lot of junk to say about Candace Owens. And I do want to also stress that Turning Point USA tried to pepper him with something as a surprise. He showed clips that were meant to be a surprise. I did no such thing. I stressed to PBD from the beginning that I was grateful he was taking this on and that I wanted this to be a clean debate because I believe I can win this on the merits. And I believe that I did win this fully on the merits by engaging the evidence of what has happened. I do still believe that there is more evidence which supports that there are more people involved and that Tyler Robinson has been set up.
What evidence?
That none of the evidence that was presented was in any way overwhelming, which is why
no
I think
information.
you wanted to move to end that discussion quickly and to speak to me about France and
that's the only actual evidence.
And my
he
time
moved the conversation from that because they agreed that just meant it was convincing.
We're open to, as you called them, internet sleuths. I think it was on a show that you did right after Charlie was assassinated that internet sleuths would solve this. This is the reason why Charlie, a year on, is still a conversation every single day trending on Twitter. I knew Charlie. I cared about Charlie. I care about finding out what the truth is here. My heart is in the right place. I think anybody who watches my show or even just watched this debate knows that if I get something wrong, I'll instantly correct it and own it. I'm not arrogant. I don't need to sit here and speak on the Lance thing. It hasn't been ruled out. But you saw that he just really wanted to hammer that point. You know,
Not
part
arrogant.
of being a well-meaning person is to concede when you are wrong, to take something off a timeline when you know it's not right. And I would like to think that is why I have earned the audience that continues to follow me, because they know my heart's in the right place, that I deeply cared about Charlie and I deeply care about the answers. I want to thank Andrew's team who are providing the fact checks. It's a very small room that they're in. I want to, as always, thank my team who worked really hard to make this happen and flip the set. And to you, PBD, just for being a great moderator. I think very fair, letting us both speak and making sure that Andrew got out of this what he wanted, which is a little more than what I wanted. But I'm very content with how I dealt with this. And I trust, I don't need to convince the audiences with the magic trick of what they need to think about this debate. They can watch it and draw their own conclusions.
Beautiful. Fair from both of you. I think the audience won. And again, from the beginning, all of this is because of how much love and respect we have for Charlie Kirk, a great man that's no longer here with us. His 1-year anniversary is coming up here. I can't believe it's that quick that is here. The audience, I think you also won if you did. Support the Crucible, support the Candace show, support the PBD podcast, subscribe to the channel. This is how you help these voices get out even more, especially going into future when this happens. You want a lot of independent creators to have these types of discussions. And last but not least, the two of you, I respect you guys again for having this conversation. It is not easy to do so. Hopefully this will lead to more discussions. A lot of different things we talked about. I'm sure there will be a lot of follow-up. With that being said, take care, everybody. God bless. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those.
Hey, it's us. Really big.
I don't like being really big.
What happened?
Love it.
Anyways, yeah. So that was about as big of a waste of time as I thought it was going to be, honestly.
It was. I mean, they're right that they're not going to change any minds. But I mean, she dodged everything.
Everything.
There's screen, so I'm not bring. Yeah, she dodged everything, and then she had the audacity to claim that she won, and she's not arrogant.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Oh, she's arrogant as fuck. She's one of the most arrogant people online. That's hard to do. That's a fucking high ass bar, dude. There's some arrogant ass motherfuckers online. But yeah, that's fun. Y'all be sure to check us out. Me and Jinx are both going on Joe Lanew's grand jury tonight.
Show starts at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Along with Sarah Fields, Southern FFA family or FFA family. I forget what her actual handle is.
Wolf Land.
Yeah.
And there's Derek on there too.
Yeah, Derek's on there too. So all the regulars that are normally in our space or in one of the spaces that we, or a lot of the spaces we go to. Yeah. Anyways. But yeah. We're going on the grand jury tonight. It's Joe Lanew, Joe LNU. He's on Rumble, but it's a really cool show. They like play body cam footage and stuff, and you give a true bill or no bill on if the cops were wrong for shooting the person or right for shooting the person, so on and so forth. Justified.
It's fun. We've both done it once before, so.
Yeah, but we didn't do it together.
Correct. I didn't get invited the first time.
Well, because they only had one spot.
I know.
So,
it's fine.
But yeah, that, and then after that, we'll be back Sunday.
Sunday.
At 8 p.m. Central. Doing what we do on Sunday at 8 p.m. Central.
Yep, we'll shoot the shit and have a conversation about the debate. Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll be back on Sunday and catch us tonight. I know I'm going to be streaming to my X Live with the grand jury.
Oh yeah, I haven't set that up. to check
Not
that.
hard to set up.
I know. I had it do it last time. I tried to do it to our Rumble, and then I didn't think it went live, and then it did go live, and then I stopped it.
Yeah.
And but
so enjoy your weekend and have a great one. Bye, everybody.
Deuces.